Story Species Story Medicine, Extra Strength. Ready to take your medicine with Gina Virginia Casella?
Species of medicine, open for the task. Extra strength is everything you'd ever ask. Many with the soil, many with the seed. Earth is a medicine for you and for me. Scrubbing off the tarnish, building up the trust. Honest little tales, rising from the rust. The truth is in the living, truth is in the skin. Open up the portal, let the healing in. Extra strength, extra soul. Medicine to make us whole. Feel the rhythm, feel the pace. Yeah, every single space. Are you ready for the cure? Keep it steady, keep it pure. Extra strength.
Okay, can you hear me? Because nobody can hear you. You're on mute.
Oh, am I on mute? Oh my goodness, all that talking. Okay, let me remove you for a moment. Okay, I didn't know that I was on mute. Okay, that is okay. I was just saying, leave me a comment, and people left me comments. Okay, and so let me restart, okay? So welcome to Story Species, Story Medicine, and today I've got my good friend with me, Julia Anchor-Haven. Julia, there's so much to say about her. She's published her own oracle. She's going to be a speaker at my conference, at the Basis' conference, and today's going to be an extra special show because Julia is really shining her light on her own vulnerability. So those of you who know me, anybody who's involved in my conference, they get a gemstone exchange in return. And so Julia was like, why don't we do a live gemstone reading followed by a discussion about the oracle and the upcoming events. And so let me just reread Julia's biography here for you. Okay, so everybody can hear me this time, and thank you for your patience and for letting me know. So Julia Ankerhaven is a world traveler, Akashic Oracle reader, Violet Flame Reiki master, Access consciousness practitioner, quantum crystal and sound therapist. Ankerhaven is a mystical wellness guide and experiencer. She's recovering from her fragmented memories from experiences in the SSP Secret Space program. Her ongoing work focuses on memory recovery and integration, drawing from experiences on planet and the breakaway colonies. Ankerhaven is the author of the Breakaway Oracle card deck, created to help others make sense of their memories from the special access programs and heal their multidimensional lifetimes. Ankerhaven is presenting at the Summer Days online conference June 13th and will be attending the BASIS 2026 International Disclosure Conference. That's being hosted June 19th to the 21st. So just before I bring Julia to the stage, here's my little picture of her. You can find that. We're going to go over lots of images today. There was a big post that went out on my Buy Me a Coffee, so we'll be sure to go over that. Beautiful pictures created, lots to talk about. Let's bring Julia to the stage, this time for real. Okay, Julia, how are you doing today?
Hi. Yeah, we can all hear you now. That's great. I've got the chat open on my side as well. So yeah, thank you so much for having me on and for doing my reading today.
Yes, thank you for coming. It's really exciting for you to be here because I often talk about you because you monitor behind the scenes and then nobody knows how you look, right? And so Julia has quite the following on her own YouTube. So welcome to all of Julia's Soul Tribe hanging out with us today from Mystical Wellness, and all of Julia's folks also who know her from BASIS. Welcome, welcome, welcome here. So Julia is willing to do the gemstone reading live, but is there anything you're itching to say, Julia, or should we just like dive right into it? I wasn't sure.
Yeah, let's dive in. Yeah.
Dive in. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove my screen so that everybody can see the gemstones. And just a point of clarification, I'm only doing Julia. I'm not doing other gemstone readings today. And okay, come on. Here we go. All right.
You just need to drop that comment as well.
Okay, hold on here. There's a little bit of an overlap going on. Okay, in the chat, we've got lots of welcomes to Julia. And thanks for everybody who's watching. And now catching up on the comments there. Okay, comments are clear. And my teleprompter is off. And let's make us bigger so that you can see. Okay. So I never know what the Gnome King's gemstones are going to report. And I thought, let's see here, so this is a full gemstone reading. And I haven't had a chance to open up Sacred Space. And whenever I work with clients, I usually do this behind the scenes, but I know Julia's into this kind of stuff. So let's just take a moment to do it. Oh, and I've got multiple floras on the go. But when it came to Julia, I thought this one here, because it's got a watch on it for time and timelessness, made me think about you. All right. Just sink into the present moment here. And I'm not wearing my microphone, so you can't hear my, so you might hear cars and stuff. Okay, here we go. Okay, just coming over you. And if you want to face the south, as I call in the directions, you can. And people in the comments, I'll have to check in on those in just a moment here. Great winds of the south, great serpent, wrap your coils of light around us. Teach us to shed the past the way you shed your skin. Help us to walk the beauty way. Aho. Great winds of the west, mother jaguar, sister jaguar, protect our medicine space. Be with us, Oktorongo, helping us to stay fierce. Teach us your gentle ways. Aho. Great winds of the north, hummingbird, seaward Kenzie, be with us, grandmothers and grandfathers, ancient ones, come warm your hands by our fires. Let us hear your whispers in the wind. We honor you. Those who have come before us, those who will come after us, our children's children. Thank you, hummingbird, for teaching us to only drink the finest nectar. Thinking about Julia Anchorhaven as I made this from the flower nectar from grapefruit flowers, and something told me to pick those flowers before the full moon, and I did because they were gone when the full moon came. Thank you, Sir Kenzie, for teaching me to follow my heart. Aho. Great winds of the east, eagle condor, come to us from the place of the rising sun. Show us the mountains we only dare to dream of. Take us under your wing. Teach us your lessons. Help us to fly. Wingtip to wingtip with the great spirit. Always flying wingtip to wingtip with the great spirit. Aho. Pachamama, Mother Earth, the biological one calls to you. Today we're working with the biological one known as Julia Anchorhaven. We heal with the earth, with all of our relations to all of your children, the stone people, the plant people, the two-legged, the four-legged, the six-legged, eight-legged, those with 100 legs, those with no legs, fins, beaks, feathers, cartilage, bones, trunks, noses, all the shapes and forms, formlessness and formulas that we take. It doesn't matter if we're from this planet or of this planet. Pachamama takes us all in. Pachamama, you're the mother that was here before us. You're the mother who will be here after us. Even if we wanted you to leave us, you never leave us, for you are us. Thank you for my body, temple of my spirit. Aho. Father, Son, Grandmother Moon, and to the star nations, we call to you, those of you who are known by 1,000 names, and yet you who remain the unnameable one. Thank you for allowing us to sing another song in life. Thank you for today's alchemy. Today here with Julia Anchorhaven. We're so pleased to have her on our show. Let's get busy with her gemstone reading. Aho. All right. I feel excited, you know.
That's awesome. I love watching you open sacred space. Love it.
And I noticed too, you had your bells and stuff going, so that was awesome. Okay, so let's see what the Gnome King's gemstones have to say for Julia. And just to remind anybody tuning in, I see lots of comments. I'm not caught up on them. Jason, I did see you in there missing time. Okay. All right. So So we're just focusing on Julia. We're not doing anybody else's gemstone reading. And this is a full one. So this is going to take a good 45 minutes. Okay, so already there's like a turning over. So the wheels in your life, they're definitely moving, maybe even a bit too fast for you. My hand is going left. Both my hands want to be a part of it. Okay, fine. Okay. All right, so there's like a figure 8ing going on. Let me just put this down here. Okay, so from here to here. Okay, I have a bad habit of moving my screen up and down and stuff, so just let me know if you can't see the gemstones. I know you can't see my face. So pick a number, Julia, between 1 and 12.
7.
Okay. So the first thing that I noticed was there was lots of turning over, like I was saying, and this is representative of alchemy. The wheels, they are turning in your life, perhaps a little bit too fast. So trusting in the process. And to me, that really resonates because behind the scenes, before the show, Julia and I were chatting and I was like, trust the process trusts you. And now it's like, this is presenting in the gemstone reading. Initially, when I was mixing the gemstones, the masculine was in the lead, but the feminine came and was like, no, I'm part of the lead too. So I know Julia, she's like me, spiritually presents as quite masculine, but that feminine side is very much there and very much present and sending a message that like, move over masculine. It's time for the feminine to really start stepping in here. So they're not like fighting or competing. It's just the masculine's been in charge for so long that finally like there's being space made for the feminine. And this is rooted in things like past lives and whatnot, where it wasn't safe for women to be doing the kind of stuff that you do, which is why you present mostly as masculine. So something else that stands out right away is if you notice, most of the gemstones are crowded over here. Which is fine. And also we've got the chain in the center. Nothing should be in the center. So let's focus on the center first. The center, this is Toby. Okay, this pendulum here. And Toby represents both the tree of life and the tree of knowledge. And my hands at some point started to make like a figure 8 shape. Infinity sign, turning around sign, alchemy sign, but also the sign of glasses. So when glasses are presenting, something that I learned is, so all the power animals, they retire at some point, okay? And sometimes they die, but it takes them like a long time to do that. And this is very normal. Your eagle condor is getting old, may be retired right now, might even be dead, but still there for you until the other one rises. So this is where we talk about the phoenix rising, okay? So there's frustrations, and I know I can relate to this. When eagle, okay, so let me rewind. Eagle condor is not in alignment right now. In fact, the whole entire east is empty. and I sense this is why, because you are about to experience tremendous transformation. That's why this is all here on the west side. And Jaguar, who should be over here in the west, is actually over here. So transformation is already starting. So back to my comment earlier about the wheels being in motion and maybe moving too fast for you. This is validating that. Like Jaguar is like, you crossed the rainbow bridge, we're moving on with or without you. Like spiritually, you're moving on. So there might be a sense of like catch up that you have to do, and you might feel stressed out because of this, but it will settle. So eagle condors over here in the south, which I'm just noticing now, which also validates my comment earlier. So eagle condor, again, working with metaphors and whatnot, but on a literal level, there is a strong belief that eagle condor is the great eye that sees everything, or it sees nothing. And eagle condor sees you. But the thing is, eagle condor is focused on the greater themes. There is a need for eagle condor every now and then to be reminded, as great as eagle condor is, that you need to zoom in on the details. But the trouble you're having right now is eagle condor is wearing glasses and can't really see the details, and is, like I said, retiring, maybe even already dead. So there's like a resistance. There's a protective nature. There's a need for this old eagle condor to respectfully get out of the way so the new eagle condor can come into play. The new eagle condor for you is a female, is the vibe I get. And this might even be, I'm getting goosebumps all over me right now, but like, this might be the first time on a spiritual level where like the girl is in charge. So like the masculine eagle condors, they're like, well, we're the father eagle condors. We're the great grandfathers. You know, they're so used to protecting the females, the great grandmothers. But it's like, when it comes to the eagle world, both male and female are in charge. There is no dominating like in other animal species. So this to me is very powerful, and it's also very frustrating because like we haven't chatted in a while about like personal stuff, but when it comes to alchemy and your life moving on, knowing that the details are not being taken care of is super frustrating, because then how are you going to change the bigger themes? Right? And the story is never about the actual story. It's always about the greater themes. Yet, here's where duality comes into hand. If it wasn't for those details, we wouldn't be able to have the greater themes. And so this is where mind reprogramming comes into play. So when I think about Toby being right here in the middle of my gemstone reading, and he's upside down, like the roots are here, they should be down here. That's because Toby knows this eagle condor is over, whether that's retired or deceased. And it would bring this eagle condor great relief if you said a little prayer or something like that, just reassuring, it's okay, it's fine, because the new eagle condor is like present right now. And I feel like that's why Jaguar is here. This is very positive, even though it might seem overwhelming. The chain here, if you notice, it's like kinked. So this could have lots of meanings to it, but like here you are going in a nice flow, and then kink, it's out of alignment. This shift is representative of like a new spiral. So you're not going to have repeating loop, a repeating cycle. You're moving on. So this is validating more alchemy. And you just chime in whenever you want to. Okay, what else is standing out?
When I think about saying like thank you and goodbye to my eagle condor like father, it makes me quite emotional.
Oh, well, yeah. You know what? Let's do that right now and blow into this stick. You can blow in the emotion. You can say words, blow away.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
And let's burn it right now. And when I move the gemstones around, it might like cause emotion. So I'm just going to gently pick up the eagle condor, and I'll put it on my heart, representative of yours. And let's burn this.
Terry B in the chat is saying that she wants to think that eagle condor is going on a cruise. Otherwise, I feel sadness. But eagle condor has done great service, so it's not a sad thing. He's like going back to source, and it's like that, right?
Yeah, And yeah, it's not like this is all on the energetic level, right? And everybody's power animals alchemize. My hummingbird recently died, and my eagle condor too is getting old. And I don't know if you noticed, but that flame kind of had a hard time burning, and then it just stopped. It didn't like burn the whole stick, because it's like, to me, I don't know what you were thinking, but I was thinking it's like, okay, I'm going to move over to the side now. So, wow, like I feel like my left side feels like relief, like it's lighter, like the feminine is coming in. So that's really nice. And thanks for mentioning.
I am very masculine, and I was talking to a friend yesterday about somebody who was like, you know, they behave a certain way around women, and I was like, but I don't consider myself to be female. I don't really consider myself to be anything. I'm a super soldier, right? So that's kind of how I feel. It's like, you know, I don't feel one or the other. I remember being male and that kind of thing. So yeah.
Yes. And I just noticed a comment. I think, Terry, excited for Julia's new beginnings. I look forward to catching up on the comments, but right now I'm just going to focus on this here. And the thing too is, like, you see, that's the thing, like, you see yourself as an object, as a super soldier. Well, super soldiers are real people too, because, you know, eventually everything becomes sentient. So even if you're made out of metal or sticks or stones, eventually you're going to start developing feelings, and it's time for the feminine. So I wouldn't be surprised things like receiving might be better for you. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, so back to Toby, tree of life, tree of knowledge. The root is up here in the north, so it's like upside down, because Toby's like, let's follow the lead of Jaguar. Let's go this direction. The snake skin is right here. Snake should be down here. And snake is not. So Julia is having like a hard time letting go. But I feel like your enthusiasm just now to like release the eagle condor really helped to facilitate that, which is why probably Toby is right beside Snake, because they're going to go together now to get this fertile soil, rich and sweet. So I didn't know that this gemstone reading was going to unfold like this, but somehow the gemstones knew. So now that you've released this on a biological level, it's going to provide nutrients to your hopes and dreams, your seeds and keys that you're planting. So why is everything bunched up here? Let's have a look at this here. So, okay. Okay, so you have a lot of support that it might be overwhelming. Everybody wants to tell you something, but it's like there's a little bit of precedence and priority. And the priority would actually be listening to the wise and well whale and orca elders, because they're in charge of harmonizing your song. They're also like elephants. They're a matriarchy. The females are in charge. And they're looking here at the chivalrous masculines. And they're also looking here at Manus. So Manus reminds you that you're in charge of writing your story, because you're in charge, not the wise and well whale and orca elders. None of these people are in charge. You're in charge. But that masculine part of you might be getting in the way, even though it means well. It's just like kind of hindering the protection. But Manus is saying, hey, I'm a little guy, make room for me. And I'm going to help Julia write her story. And that's one of the reasons why nothing is here. It's like, you're not just given a new page. This is not a new chapter. This is a new book, a new series in the life and times of Julia Anchorhaven. So it can be a bit intimidating. Like, how am I going to fill up all these pages? What do you mean? It's like a new matrix unfolding. So it's very big time. And there's like a big wash and like right now, I was just glancing at the stars the other night. Everything's really clustered. And that's what this makes me think of. Like, what do you focus on, right? So let's just look here. The focus would be that these masculine qualities and the masculine eagle condor that just like laid to rest, if you will, all of those masculine high quality items are stuck because you've been masculine for so long. It's like you don't want those masculine items to start dominating you again. So part of you is like, leave them in the stuck zone. But Hummingbird is saying, carry the high quality items forward. So there might be things like guilt and shame from masculine roles that you've had in the past. The heart center is a little bit stuck, but if you listen to yourself, that this will help break free. There's a real emphasis on you trusting in the process. Hummingbird needs to fly. Hummingbird defies all odds. So when Hummingbird is in the stuck zone, it's a sign that you need to take a step back and let the high quality items present themselves, because there's things about you that you don't even know that are high quality, because this is part of a whole new matrix unfolding for you. Like, you're a spiritual biz entrepreneur now. Your old matrix, it's not just something in the past, it's over, right? It's completely over. This is your life now, hosting your show, being on my show, doing the conference, helping Miles out behind the scenes. That's your life now. And part of you is going, well, what about these other high quality items? So there might be some confusion. And the high quality items that are the female, feminine high quality items, well, geez, it's been so long, you don't even know what those are like. And a really high quality feminine item is the ability to receive. You have a hard time receiving. Why? Because whatever you receive probably gets thrown in your face, or you're better off just to provide for yourself. You've never really had that protector provider. So when you think about carrying forward the masculine protector provider, it's like, how does that even work, right? But this is where Jaguar energy comes in strong, because Jaguar, this is like a roller coaster, right? So right here, Jaguar, like all these folks right here are literally starting to swish down, and they're going to swirl all of this here, mix it all up and recalibrate things. So this is what I'm trying to explain when I'm talking about hummingbirds, highest quality items and your heart space being a little bit stuck, because these high quality items haven't presented themselves yet. And you might not even recognize them. You might just need that gift of time to speak and act and do what you need to do so that they express and manifest. You might meet somebody who helps shine your light a little bit more. Even today's gemstone reading and the vulnerability, I was pleasantly surprised you wanted to do this live. Okay, over here.
I put everything out there.
Go ahead.
I have no filter. I just put it all out there. And so then that surprised somebody recently, and they said, you're giving me all the ammunition I need. And it's like, with love, I just put it all out there. And why not? I like to be transparent if I can. But I recently had an Akashic reading with my mentor, and it was about expressing myself, and there was shame and humiliation coming out of my records. So you're spot on with that, yeah. So
Yeah, and you know what? When it comes to things like shame and humiliation, it's like, well, what are the high quality items in that? But you know what? Like, when you feel embarrassed and stuff like that, now that you know what those feelings feel like, if you're making a presentation, for example, and people are commenting, shut up, you suck, that's not even going to bother you anymore, because that's going to be a high quality. You're used to that. That doesn't bother you. It used to bother you, but it won't bother you anymore.
Oh my word. So I've never seen that happen. I've had some weird ones where I've never heard like stop. No, I've had people say to me, let the guest talk, right? Stop talking, let the guest talk. I've had that twice. But generally when it's John Whitberg, and they're probably right. Yeah, so that's fine. But yeah, so that's the only thing I've heard is like, just let the guest talk more. So yeah.
Well, you know what? Like, you just published an oracle, you're rising above, you're defaulting to getting more popular in media, and that puts you in a vulnerable position to be picked on. So it's possible that you might start having trolls. I have to say, though, like when I was having a lot of troll issues, Julia was like a buffer for that. So, this is going to be interesting, right? There might be an attempt to like take you down like socially, but you know what? Because you were picked on and whatnot, and harassed and bullied in past lives, it's fine, right?
In the last 3 or 4 months, I got really aggressively targeted by another podcaster. So got through it. We're on the other side. That was the last time we did a reading. I was going through that quite aggressive targeting, me and my little friend circle. Yeah. Yeah, and that's never fun. No. That's never fun. And you know what? Like, it's one thing for those messages to be online. It's another when they're in person. Very different when it's in person, when you're with another biological, right? And I can see now like this feminine energy really coming through, because like the masculine energy typically would be like, you know, if you don't shut up, I'm going to beat you up attitude. But like the feminine energy is a lot more gentle, not so dramatic. And I can see that just really gliding and sliding over, smoothing over any kind of negativity, right? Okay, let me put this down again. When I look at the gemstones, I'm noticing these ones I've already addressed. This one has yet to identify itself, but Toby's root was right in there. So there's something unknown that is very good for you, that's very nourishing. And whatever this is going to be presenting itself because it's on its way with Jaguar and friends. So keep an eye out for that. It could be a person, it could be an opportunity, but whatever it is, it's very, very healthy for you. So healthy that Toby's like literally right in there. Okay, we talked about snake, Polaris. Okay, so Polaris is creating an isosceles triangle, which means it has 3 different sides. So this is good for like shifting. And Polaris is focusing down here on hummingbird. Polaris is also focusing on catfish energy. So trust that. Imagine there's like a catfish swimming behind you and it's going to gobble up all your baggage, anything negative. So you just give it to catfish and catfish will take care of that. The goddess warriors, they're a bit protective of this root here because whatever this is unknown. Even though it's healthy and good for you, it is unknown. So they're just there to make sure that you feel safe and you feel good. Not that this thing is threatening or anything, but they're acting like it is because that's just how they are. And in terms of healing with the land, this month is all about sovereignty with the goddesses and healing with the land. And so your vulnerability is helping you on a biological level to heal. Even, getting your presentation together, that was a big job for you. And that's all part of the healing, providing yourself with your own story medicine, which very well could be that book, that whole new book that you're writing, that Manus is talking about. And he's right there to support you. What else is going on here? Okay, these 3, 1, 2, and 3, they should be on this side, and they are. So in terms of like Morgan, the Morrigan, the dark goddesses, they're in alignment. There is some life going on. The golden dragon is wanting you to know that there's
life right now, like in the life, death, life cycle, there's life going on right now. So this life is kind of dimmed. This should be up here. It should be a lot brighter. So I feel like the brightness in your life and the intensity, it's being held back, like it can't breathe. But as this shifts, you're going to be able to open and expand this tree root here. It's going to be growing. It's going to get that nutrients, and whatever this is, it's going to be able to rise here. So you're basically like a star that's rising. And as you rise, you're shining brighter and brighter. But as you're shining brighter and brighter, some other people don't like that. Makes them feel jealous. Julia being successful.
Yeah, I do resonate as Golden Dragon Soul, and I do also resonate as the Morrigan and Morgan Le Fay aspects of me as well. So that's really interesting that you said that, because I don't think we've ever talked about it, have we? So
not with me, no. And the dragon, like, so this white gemstone here is like my golden dragon gemstone. And then this one is the like dragon in general, but it also represents the physical plane, and they were right beside each other. So physically, you're not stuck. There might metaphorically be a need for you to fly instead of walking or crawling or slithering. And this actually makes me think about flying wingtip to wingtip with eagle condor, because the dragon flies so high, and it's like gonna help take the shining star you are even higher, higher than eagle condor can even fly. Your inner mermaid should be down here. She's over here, whatever. But I feel like this is just alluding to more protection, so that you don't have to worry about losing any of your treasures. Treasures, like when you alchemize, you're always leaving something behind. You shed it, you leave it in the past, or it comes with you and it alchemizes. There's things that you are alchemizing, but there's things that you're shedding, leaving behind as well. The things that you need to leave behind, this eagle condor is going to benefit from that. We already talked about that. But you might be worried on a deeper subconscious level that, oh no, I shouldn't have let that go. Maybe I shouldn't have let eagle condor go yet. And this inner mermaid is saying, no, I have everything you need right here. So you don't have to worry about that. And you might even want to meditate with your inner mermaid about a treasure in your treasure chest that might be collecting some dust, that has something to do with this divine feminine energy, because the masculine treasures in this treasure box are like bright, shiny new because you're so used to using them. But the feminine treasures are all dusty and stuff. So everybody wants to talk to you. You're probably going to have dreams and feel overwhelmed with downloads and messages. So connect with the inner mermaid. Like, what's 1, 2, or 3 gifts, a symbol for you to focus on? It's interesting because way over here on the side, this is the squid energy. And the squid energy, they have a pupil that looks like a W shape, and it's looking up this way. It's looking up in the north. So the squid folk are supporting you rising above. I find it personally interesting, like ideally jaguar would be right here where the squid folk are. So it's like the squid folk, there's a constellation that looks like a W shape, close to the Big Dipper and Orion. Look for that constellation. They can help you out. Help you out with what? Just help you out with guiding you in the dark. So you know how fish deep in the ocean. They're in the dark. So we're talking about nocturnal folk. There's a little bit of bouncing back and forth here between masculine and feminine, because the jaguars, so on a literal level, the female jaguars, they hang out by the water because all the food is there and they take care of the babies. The home is there. But the masculines, they're the ones who go far from home. You're going far from home, except your female jaguar isn't going away from the river. You're by the river, but you're going far down the river. So in your own mind, when you're creating maps and stuff like that, work with this energy and imagery that you're by the river. You're still far from home, but you're following the road of the river. The masculines are not by the river. So if you start sensing that there's masculines around you, then you know you're not by the river, and you need to be by the river. And so your bones and stuff like that on a literal level might start bothering you, because the moon literally pulls the water in and out, like with the tides, and we're made of water. So
about 200 meters from my house is a river, a major one.
Oh.
I live on a peninsula.
Well, the river is calling you.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah, that's great. You know. But you're not like bound to your home. You're far down the river. Yeah, that's really cool. What else stands out here? The family and the child. Let me put it back down. So here's the family. This could be your literal family or your astro family. Oh, here's the child right here. Okay, so when it comes to things like soul retrieval, the child you is not in the underworld, but is somewhat hesitant to go there. The child you is like wanting to be with the female jaguar, but is feeling a bit conflicted about this eagle condor business and saying goodbye. Kind of like a child having a close relationship with a grandfather, and the grandfather's passed away, and the child you wants to like go to heaven, so to speak, with eagle condor. So Huascar, who's Lord of the Underworld, is giving the child you a lot of support. It's kind of like the child you is upset because eagle condor died. And so you can like meditate and work with that. But Huascar is sending me a message that like in this moment, I would have to do some energy work on you to even see if you need soul retrieval. But there's one part of you that's standing at the gate, and it's like, Huascar, let me in. I want to be in the underworld. And Huascar is going, no, you don't belong here. But if you want to stay with me and hang out, you can. So if you feel like you don't know where the child you is, the child you is like there with Huascar. And what's interesting too is the underworld, a lot of people think it's like hell. It's not. Well, it is. It's everything. It's everything in the past. It's everything that's not the present moment. So going back to your inner mermaid, the underworld has the chamber of treasures. There's a chamber of wisdom. So it might be fun just for your child self to go explore the underworld, to go hang out. You know, you don't have to worry about being stuck there. It's just kind of like taking a tour. I feel like the underworld is going to have a strong presence in your life. Going back to the Morrigan, she's associated as a gatekeeper. So is the Grim Reaper.
I also resonate as the Norse goddess Hela. That's another aspect.
There you go.
Yeah, the balance between light and dark. Yeah.
Yep. And the adult you is kind of not the adult you, but like you have family members that they don't like what I'm saying right now. It could be like your literal family or your astral family, but they're like, don't tell the child Juliet to go to the underworld and hang out with Huascar. What are you thinking? But it's like, this is her life, this is her story, and she can do what she wants. And for what it's worth, like, if that aspect of you wanted to go in the underworld and stay there, they could, but they're choosing not to. They just want to like be with Eagle Condor. There's a real clinginess to Eagle Condor. There's a real sense of sadness, you know. So that's really special. And even these kind of like conversations, like, what do you mean? Like, why are you telling Julia that her Eagle Condor died? Like, you know, why not? You know, we ended up doing a random fire ceremony about it. So basically, in this moment, a very strong message is coming to me, and that is, you do not have to explain yourself to anybody. You don't. And you know what? The child you that wants to like hang out in the underworld, they don't have to explain themselves to you either. It's just, that's where they are, so you know that they're safe. So that's really special. And the inner mermaid is like literally here. And I didn't notice that when I was that the child was here. So the inner mermaid really reassuring that, you know, the treasures metaphorically are in the underworld. Ultimately, they're always existing inside of you. And you're the number one treasure. And the child you is part of being the number one treasure. The child you always the ruler of all the aspects. The dog monkey folk, they're down here in the south, and they're telling you, don't worry about the how. The how will work itself out. And actually, the how is a masculine role. So that's good. The female's not supposed to figure out how. The middle world, like this world, is stuck in order to give birth to this new spiral in your spiritual world. And then this birth, you'll feel it in this middle world, the alchemy unfolding. The committee of the ones who listen, they're very hooked on you right now. So like they're always listening, but they're listening extra intensely. So if you're communicating something and you're like, oh, I didn't get that right, they get it. They'll find the right words for you. The wise and well whale and orca elders, sometimes I caution people to be careful about thoughts because they do harmonize them, whether they're positive or negative. So the fact that, like what I just said about the committee of the ones who listen, they're going to make sure whatever the wise and well whale and orca elders are harmonizing, that it's like very crystal clear on your behalf, so you don't have to second guess anything. I still need to pull a card for you, but that's all that's really coming to me. There's a lot of reiteration. Sea turtle energy is, let me just bring this down. This one here is sea turtle energy. And it's spring. And summer is literally around the corner. So this would be a very ideal time for sea turtle energy to be in this transformation zone. Ideally, right here, this is like where my rainbow bridge is. And it's like Jaguar is already moving on. And so sea turtle's like, I'm coming too, you know? And so this is in alignment because sea turtles are born in the spring, right? And they take their journey. And this journey is a 20-week cycle. So whatever you're doing now is going to be your focus, like a main umbrella theme that's going to take you right up until Halloween. So it seems like, oh, that's a long time, right? But that's what 20 weeks looks like. Give or take, mid-October, late October, okay? But whatever you need to do, I know you don't like time, but you have 20 weeks, okay? 20 weeks. And sea turtle energy, you might want to watch a documentary on sea turtles, because sea turtles, when they're first born, they practically don't even have a chance. Like they're like suffocating in the mud. They crack out of their egg, they get out. There's waves like drowning them. There's crabs taking them. There's seagulls coming down. Finally, they get into the water. But again, there's more crabs and stuff. they're too tiny. The waves drown them. Pollution and whatnot. They get older. They actually eat grocery bags because they confuse that as food. So you're like stepping into this terrain, which is why, like you'll have to rewatch this gemstone reading, but now it makes sense to me why the female warriors are right there and why the males are being a bit overprotective too, because you're like a baby sea turtle. But the thing is, come this fall, look out world, because when the sea turtle gets from point A to point B, the sea turtle turns around and it's like, whoa, now the sea turtle's an adult. And the sea turtle is like, I don't know, 8 times the size of the crab. So now the sea turtle's eating the crab. So going back to your comments about people picking on you and whatnot, they're like the crab. And come this fall, you're going to be gobbling them up metaphorically. So don't go on a power trip or anything this fall, but this fall there's like an anticipation, like, holy fuck, she's going to be a big sea turtle. And things like pollution and whatnot, you're going to swim right through that. You know, getting caught in a current, you'll have the muscle to get through it. That's no problem. So, and I can see too now, like why everybody wants to talk to you and tell you things, because you're like that baby sea turtle. This also might be very intimidating for the child you, which could be another reason why the child you is like, you know what, I just want to be with Huascar in the underworld, and is really stuck on Eagle Condor, really, really. But you know what? It's kind of like the child you hasn't acknowledged the new Eagle Condor, and you need time and space for that new Eagle Condor too, because the new Eagle Condor has already been there. It's just kind of shadowed by the old one, you know. So that's really special the way that came out. Wow, yeah, that's all that's coming to me. I do need to pull a card for you, but and for what it's worth, like sea turtle energy, I don't think I've talked about sea turtle energy since the summertime. So, and for sea turtle energy to come up in the spring, it's very like the synchronicity is like really, really super, super strong. Okay, let me pick a card for you. Okay, there's 2 cards. Okay. This one is coming from the Eagle Condor that you had to say goodbye to. This is just kind of a random bonus card here. Duality and harmonization, the wise and well, whale and orca elders. So this isn't your card to complement the gemstone reading. This was like the Eagle Condor that you honored, saying like, thank you to you, I love you. The female Eagle Condor, like the grandmother eagle, will now be in charge, representative of the wise and well whale and orca elders who are leading the way here. So this is really special. The full moon literally just happened. So this is good synchronicity with the fire ceremony you did. Like I didn't, you know, like that came from you to want to do that. So, and also reminding you.
A big word for me lately, harmony. I've been doing a lot of alchemy to release anything that's not harmony lately. So that makes sense. And
you know what? Eagle Condor medicine is all about being in right relationship. Yeah. And the orca is representative. Oh, there you go. Sea turtle, yeah. So orcas are pod folk. So the sea turtle, you make your journey alone, but you do have spiritual folk with you. You have family with you. The underworld, upper world, this world. So that's really special. Okay. And that's a power card too, the wise. And this card is coming up a lot, 2026. Okay. Now it's like back to the gemstone reading. Things that happen sometimes. Okay, this one's coming from the feminine air. Creating the right conditions. Engage more with the world around you. Some folks are not from around here. Set boundaries. Okay, so this card is a horizontal one.
Yeah.
So this one either complements the gemstone reading, and if it has nothing to do with what I said, then it serves as a blind spot. I feel like it's in alignment because you're starting a whole new, not chapter, a whole new book series, metaphorically, your Akashic record. So you're going to be meeting lots of people. You're the vulnerable little sea turtle. And what this picture is, it's all my oracles are based on my real life and real dreams. So for real life, I was sitting outside on my balcony, and there's a mountain in this new neighborhood I was living in. And all of a sudden, the sun went behind the mountain and the shadows came, if you will. And it was like, whoa, where did all you folks come from? That's going to happen to you. It's kind of cool. It's kind of freaky. And this is when I was first starting to meet the dog monkey folk. So the dog monkey folk, they look like gargoyles, but they're not. And it's okay to tell them, you're not allowed in my home. You're not allowed in my car. It's okay to set those boundaries. They like hanging out just outside your window because that's not freaky. So they don't understand this, you know. They don't mean to challenge you, but they'll ask you, like, how come the housefly is allowed in your home and we're not? And it's like, the housefly is not allowed inside your home. So you'll find yourself like going in circles because they're very childlike and they're also very primordial. And they don't understand things like money, like our 3D realities. So this is telling you it's okay to set some space. And some of these shadows are very small, like little sticks and stones. Some of them are gigantic, like mountains. Some of them are the size of planets. And so they just kind of project down here. But when they come, they all come. So when they come, it's like together, one big progression, and they all know exactly where to go. So there's space. So they're like sitting on each other's shoulders, on each other's heads. You know, it's just like a big collage of shadows. So engage more with the world around you. So even like the shadow of the tree, don't see that shadow as the tree. You know what I mean? You might want to draw a picture of yourself, even a stick picture, but then draw a shadow of a bird, stuff like that. Set boundaries. The folks that want to tell you stuff, it's okay to tell them, this is way too many downloads. Dial it back. What do I need to know in priority? The problem I have with the spirit world at times is they exist in timelessness and we don't. So you need to treat your dream life like waking life. In your waking life, you would never go anywhere with a stranger. You wouldn't just randomly hop in a stranger's car. You're being reminded that about the spirit world too. So even in your SP journey and whatnot, and the right people will respect that. And even the dog monkey folk, they genuinely might say, well, come with us, we'll show you. And you might have to say, no, I treat this like stranger danger. And then, oh, okay, because they know from me, right? And if anybody, like if you really genuinely desire to meet somebody in your dream life, then you just go to the pine tree forest. That's a safe haven for you. And nobody should be in your head either. It's one thing to like present in your dream life, but nobody should be like in your head, which is probably another reason now that I think about it, why some of these gemstones are a bit overprotective, because there's a lot of literal going on, but there's a lot of spiritual going on too. On the literal level, I know you're going to Miles's conference, so you're going to be traveling alone. Maybe people randomly will come and talk to you. Only you would know this stuff, but I feel like this gemstone reading is something for you to keep in mind as an umbrella for the next 20 weeks. And holding this gemstone reading a bit closely with you, given the fact that you're going to be traveling to the conference. Yeah, and all of a sudden it just like ended. Yeah, so that was a big one. I hope that made sense for for you.
It does make sense to me. Most people, I mean, people who do come on my morning lives know that I do resonate as a goddess of the underworld and stuff like that. But most people wouldn't know that about me at all. But yeah, so there's that darker aspect of me, which is one of the reasons I was used in the programs, because I could be utilized as a weapon. So there's versions of me that do that. So yeah, but no, I am my natural go-to is quite heavy and dark, and I do have to bridge. Yeah, but I can tune into like a dark bliss as well. So it's not all uncomfortable in the darker realms. Yeah. So as the goddess Hel, she is half dead and she's half beauty. So she brings in that gentle stillness in her realm, Helheim, and she brings in a mother nurturing energy for like babies that have passed on and things like that. So there is a beauty and a nurturing energy to the underworld as well. Yeah.
And you know, it's interesting because like the child you is really wanting to stay with Huascar, and Huascar presents as a masculine. So like even the child you just feels safer, I guess, with a masculine, probably just out of habit. So you might want to have a conversation with the child self, or maybe the child self will discover that on their own little journey, you know? Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's really special. And I picked the one with the clock, and timelessness came up. Time and timelessness.
Yeah, that's so cool. So I just need to take a few minutes. My son's just come home from school, so I just need to check he's got everything.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. And Julia and I, we chatted in advance. So I told Julia after the gemstone reading, she could take a little break, whatever, and then I can promote the conference in the meantime. But I didn't close Sacred Space. So let me just close that now. Pulling these lights up. Back to me. Okay, just informing the chakras. So I'm just going to close Sacred Space, and maybe Julia will be back by then. If not, I'll promote the conference. Great winds of the south, great serpent, thank you for teaching us to shed our skin, the ways of peace, and the beauty way. Thank you for the lessons in this gemstone reading today. Aho. Great winds of the west. Jaguar, mother jaguar, sister jaguar, Otorongo. Thank you, great jaguar, for leading the way in Julia's transformation, her new book that she's writing. Whole new Akashic record. Thank you for teaching us your patience and your ways of fearlessness. Aho. Hummingbird, Seaward Kenzie. Thank you for all of your lessons, teaching us to carry forward our high quality items. Lessons of the past, themes of guilt and shame came up today, clarifying that any and all emotions have a purpose and really serve us, and they do alchemize. And I look forward to Julia's high quality items alchemizing. And thank you, Hummingbird, for taking Julia's high quality items with you. Her star shining brighter and rising higher and higher and higher. Expanding, growing, and glowing. Aho. Great winds of the east. Eagle Condor. What a beautiful thing that happened today. Julia Anchor Haven randomly doing fire ceremony in your honor, welcoming the new Eagle Condor, the feminine Eagle Condor, great-grandmother Eagle Condor, Thank you for all of your lessons, teaching Julia how to fly wingtip to wingtip with you. It sounds like the dragon energy is also flying even higher to wherever she needs to go. Thank you, great eagle condor. Thank you, great dragon, that we all belong to, the greater oneness we all are. Aho. Pachamama, Mother Earth, Great Spirit Gaia, we honored you today. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for this communication through the gemstone readings, the biological one known as Gina communicating to the biological one known as Julia. We are the two-leggeds here working together, healing with the earth, healing with each other, using spirit and our intuition as guides. Thank you, Pachamama, for the special ceremony that happened randomly today. Julia Anchorhaven's suggestion to do fire ceremony, and may the metaphorical death of eagle condor provide very, very rich, fertile soil, rich and sweet. I know Toby is itching to sink roots into that soil, and Jaguar and the wise and well whale and orca elders ready to go and gobble all of that up, that beautiful nutrients, and also giving Julia Anchorhaven some extra love and extra protection, because there's something unknown, a person, a place, a thing, it wasn't clear, something unknown, and a reminder that the dream life to be treated like any stranger danger scenario, reminding us of our vulnerability and our temperance as biological ones, reminding the spirit and ones who work in timelessness that time is not an illusion for the biological ones. Aho. Father, Son, Grandmother Moon, and to the star nations, you who are the unnameable one, and yet you who go by thousands of names, thank you for allowing us to sing this song of life, for receiving our gemstone reading, and for all the beauty that's going to be unfolding, guiding Julia Anchorhaven through her travels the next 20 weeks on her sea turtle journey. So that's really exciting. So what I'm going to do now is just prop my box back up. So today, those of you just tuning in, is a special story species, story medicine. I've got Julia Anchorhaven with me here. She's just on a little break right now. And me, your host, Gina Virginia Casella. Oh, she's back. Hi, Julia. I'm going to just, we're going to talk now about story species, story medicine, just updating everybody what's going on here. So that was really cool, doing a gemstone reading. Let me just get my background back. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to show Julia off first. I put a big post out on my Buy Me a Coffee, and I figure let's go through that because that'll help keep us on track. Okay, why is it not going up? Oh, I'm in the wrong menu. Okay, StreamYard is pretty user-friendly, but sometimes it's me, it's the user, and right now it's me. Okay, there's my background. Okay, so I'm going to put it on screen share. All right. Whoops, pull this up to the stage. Okay, something really cool worth celebrating is the Breakaway Oracle. So it's the first edition. There's limited copies. Get yours. You can pre-order them now. There's a really cool pictures here. It's all futuristics. I know I want a car like that. Really cool buildings. So breakawayoracle.com. I also want to show you Julia's, let me remove this here. I'm going to show you Julia's YouTube channel. Lots of people tuning in are familiar with Julia. And it's a real delight to have her on my show here because she's always monitoring in the background. All right, this is her YouTube channel, and you can see here as her main thumbnail, she's got the breakawayoracle.com where you can pre-order it. Here you can find all of Julia's videos. You can see she's practically hosting every day throughout the day. I'm on here a few times, and she's even got a special playlist now. So if she has people on her show multiple times, they get a playlist in the name just for them. So Soma Ara, for example, she's going to be presenting at our conference as well. So if you just wanted to check her out, you can. And Julia does all kinds of stuff. She talks about ETs, the secret space program, just even people who have Bigfoot sightings. So there's always something to share, building community. And now I want to show you my Buy Me a Coffee because that's got the heart of the images that I want to show you. Okie doke. And tomorrow we're going to be having our live tech rehearsal as well. So if anybody wanted to hang out with us, you're welcome to do that. We're not going to be presenting, but we will be taking the time to make sure that we could hear each other. And no promises that the presenters will be there. It's just an opportunity for them if they want to come. So this is my Buy Me a Coffee. I post in here pretty much every day. This is the big post that went out about Julia. She's featured in my Buy Me a Coffee multiple times. So you can just scroll back the pages. And I keep things pretty updated. There's Julia again. So you don't have to worry about going back too much on my Buy Me a Coffee. So let's click on today's post. Just to get to the pictures. Here's me welcoming Julia, her biography, all the links are there. So this was the picture for today, Breakaway Oracle. So Julia, while I'm showing these pictures, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you created them, what inspired you, like what year is it in these pictures? They're really cool.
Yeah, they're not any specific year because the breakaway is the kind of colonies off planet where it is futuristic like that naturally. So I created this deck primarily as a resource for people who are starting to get memories that don't fit into this reality. Because like myself, I've had a lot of memories coming forward that just didn't have a place. There was no context. And then context came in for me in a big way in 2025 when I started to realize who I really was and that I've been targeted for my entire life, basically living a very controlled life, and that there was multiple versions of me. So the Breakaway Oracle is designed for experiences like myself who've been military abducted, who've been mind fractured and put into these special access programs like the secret space program. People like me who may have been used as an asset and trained to do awful things on and off planet. So if you've got memories that are not quite fitting into this reality and you're very drawn to the narratives that come from the secret space program, it's quite likely that you are an asset. And I designed these cards primarily to be activating. So it could be used in 3 different ways, this deck of cards. You could use it as an educational resource just to learn more about these programs, about the factions, about the skills that people might have or what targeting could be coming your way in your life. So it's kind of like something to jog your memory, to learn more. You can use it as a meditation resource as well. So the images contain energy that is activating. I've designed them to be activating. So you could sit with it and you could sit and journal with an image or see what keywords are coming in. You could sit with it in meditation and then take that image into your mind in meditation and see if it jogs your memory that way. Or you could use it as divination tool. So you can work with it as the cards themselves to say, okay, what energy is surrounding me right now? What energy could be impacting me? And where could that be coming from? Or why have I seen this particular memory and what kind of message is that sharing? You can shuffle the cards and pick cards to help you that way. or you can use it as an alchemy tool. So I will be uploading quite a few resources that go with this deck. So people who purchase the deck are not just getting cards, they're getting access to meditation, getting access to a masterclass in pendulum alchemy as well, to help you shift some of these unwanted energies that might be coming forward. Because this is about healing trauma. And it's multi-dimensional trauma, that it's in more than just one body, but it might be bleeding through into your body in the here and now. So it is a bit niche deck. It's not for everybody. So it's only 25 copies are being made. I have sold 10 already as the pre-order. So there's a pre-order sale price on right now, and I will be starting to ship them out probably around the 15th of June when I get just before I go to the BASES conference. So I'll be taking them with me to the BASES International Disclosure Conference as well here in the UK. So they are a bit unusual. They're definitely not for everybody, for people who kind of resonate with the the information that's coming forward from the secret space programs, those special access programs where you might think that you were like myself. I was used as a scientist, I was used as a soldier, an analyst. There's lots of clones of me and things like that. All that information started to bleed through, and I thought that I was going crazy. I didn't know why I had these memories until the last year or so, when it all started to fall into place for me. So creating this deck, I actually collaborated with another super soldier who's an author. I collaborated with John Whitberg, who's got a lot of information about these breakaway colonies, about different factions and programs. So we put our heads together basically on this. We designed the images together and everything. So I designed everything and he got say on everything. So we really collaborated on this, and it was such a good project, and I found it very healing as well. Even something as simple as thinking about you might be living in a breakaway colony. I actually tuned in to versions of my soul that were waiting to come back to me. They were waiting to be rehomed and integrated. And so me writing this deck, creating these images, so I've done all of the artistry, all the authoring, producing, everything I've done myself, printed it here in the UK. So it's not like I sent it off to China or whatever. So I've had to do a limited run. So there's only 25 that's ever going to be made of this first edition. So it might never be the same ever again. So this is like a founder copy, a piece of Anchor Haven history, somebody said, and I really like that. But yeah, so there's going to be information that you can download from the website. There's going to be meditation and other resources available for people that do purchase the deck. So this is the breakaway. Here it is, the breakaway oracle. So there's 52 cards in the deck, and there's 2 cards which tell you how to use it. Then there'll be more information that you can download as a downloadable PDF. But I'm also going to be working on an expanded companion book that will go onto Amazon. So if people are not drawn to the cards, if cards are not your thing, you might just want to wait for the book to come. Yeah, instead, then you can use that as a resource to go through. So it is for beginners. It's for people who are just discovering what makes sense. It's for people who are trying to debrief and think, okay, what does all this mean? Because I wasn't aware of any of this stuff 2 years ago. It's like it was on the surface level. Even thinking about deep underground military bases, that term dumb only came into my awareness about 3 years ago. So it's like, yeah, so whereas I realized that I had somebody missing from my life, I never imagined that they would be a super soldier twin. But when that information came forward, it made a lot of sense for me. We both have shared memories and experiences, so it's validated. Yeah, so a lot of work has gone into the deck over the last few months. So hopefully people will find it useful. I hope so.
Well, it's going to help a lot of people. Athena is just commenting here that she says, my husband was taught as a teen how to fight with energy spirit. During his awakening, he learned that how he was taught to do stuff was wrong. There are many secret programs out there. And, you made a good point about the mental health stigmas. Like, people really do feel like they're losing their minds because the world around them doesn't make sense anymore. They don't make sense anymore to the world around them. Depending on your upbringing, epigenetics, like people's families are not interested in hearing this kind of stuff. It doesn't resonate with them. And it can be really scary, too, when you're actually pushed to go on things like medication because doctors are telling you that you're not making sense. Yeah. And then we learn through stories like Julia's story that this kind of stuff really is happening. And then people who don't even know each other end up connecting and sharing the same story, who have the same information. And I love how this Oracle deck, it's targeted for beginners. And I love how there's a sense of play. You don't have to feel intimidated. You just pick whatever card from the deck.
Yeah.
You can ask it questions, keep pulling, see the images as guidance. Like your suggestion, you could even take the book that you're coming out with that complements the Oracle. The book itself is an Oracle. You can turn to any page and receive whatever message you want, or you can read it beginning, middle, end. Some people really resonate doing that. And then it's interesting what will stir inside of you. And I really like the pendulum alchemy that comes with it too, because in truth, we are our best tools. We're our best dowsers. And so if we can get guidance from a pendulum, from that higher self, and really hone in on the certainty that comes with using a pendulum, is really powerful. I tried to, and it's trying to be trying, but these don't really do justice. What I did is I took Julia's banner here where it says pre-order now, and then I tried to like break it up to get a better zoom in of the pictures.
Yeah, it's quite hard. So I designed, you can just about see with my background on. So there's 52 cards. So not all the cards are going to resonate. So this is about on-planet operations. There's so many different ones there. So I can hold a few up to the screen. But it's quite interesting to create these. So this one is just about space. It's about Nachtwaffen, which is a faction in space that I've got memories of being a scientist there. So it could be the imagery sparks something in people's minds, or it gives you a keyword, something to work off, something to journal with. Yeah. And so it's like some people they might resonate as being a pilot and navigator, which means they've got really strong psychic skills. But in the mini guidebook that I'm creating that goes with it, that you can download from the website once it's all released, there'll be kind of resonance checks on it. So how does this apply to me? Because, if you get this one, which is the Japanese breakaway, the YNK, you're going to be thinking, Japanese, how does that, I just plug in my phone. It's saying, well, how does that apply to me? But a lot of us have got Japanese lifetimes and Germanic lifetimes as well. Just plug in. Every 15 minutes, StreamYard messes with my internet. Yeah, just switch off my camera.
Has it been 15 minutes mess up now? StreamYard, stop messing with the internet.
Yeah, it's almost to the bottom of the hour. So StreamYard messes my internet every 15 minutes. Yeah. So
this is a really phenomenal deck. Even somebody like myself, I mean, I'm still figuring it out, right? But I know I was definitely a scientist, and I was very masculine, and so I'm interested,
image that I created. Because most people, I'm going to talk about this when I do my conference presentation in 2 weeks, is it, or in a week or so? Because most people will remember the scientist memories first, because I did, because it's safer. Right, I felt safer to recover those memories because I'm just sitting in a lab. I'm quite isolated. I'm hyper focused on my work. So I did genetic work. I did creating chimeras, so creating hybrids, basically pairing a humanoid with an ET. Augmenting, taking off arms and putting other things on. And so there's quite a few people who remember me as like we call it genetic genius rather than mad scientist. And that's nice, Terry. But saying that my safe place to go is my podcasting community. Thank you. But yeah, so I started to create things about targeting. So twice in the last year, I've had black helicopters over my house. One time it was suspended over my house, which makes me think it was actually an ET ship projecting out a black helicopter, because it felt like it was there for a long period of time. So I do get into targeting, and I look at it from 3 different angles in this deck as well, because it could be that you're targeted by handlers around you, physical people in your everyday. So for me, it was people at my work, or friends that appear that seem to be too good to be true, a partner that's very controlling for 20 years and things like that. So there's always people around you in your your life, even if you don't realize, but there is. It could be somebody that you see every day at the bus stop who's monitoring your movements, somebody at the shop who's noticing what you buy and is doing something to that Pepsi Max when I purchase it or whatever. So there's always people in your life, but then there's also different types of targeting. So you might have the empowered interference, where you're getting hit by direct energy weapons, you're getting voice to skull technology. I'm just trying to find that card now, 1 second. So, but I did include healing cards in this deck as well, because it is a trauma healing journey. So I'm not the kind of person, yeah,
I'm glad you included healing cards, because as you were talking, I thought, well, that's going to make me paranoid every time I'm out and about now. Like, who's watching my purchase? And you know what? That's exactly why we need to have these conversations, because you do get paranoid. Like, I mean, part of facing the truth, like when I did my shamanic energy medicine training, part of that was me facing my fear of the ghosties and having somebody like Alberto Villaldo be straight up about stuff like that and be honest. It helped me. It didn't scare me. What scared me was the not knowing. So if you're like me, like, you would really benefit with Julia's Breakaway Oracle deck, because it stirs what you haven't allowed to stir because of feelings of paranoia, feelings that you need to awaken to. And when we awaken, it's like other people start to become aware of that.
So all the work I do, it starts with anchoring. I am the anchor. I anchor flame energies on the planet. So everything I do is anchored. But it's also anchored in shadow strength in the darkness. So we're working with the elements, because like you, I do shamanic practices. So we're working with the air element for communication, connecting into our psychic senses. We're working with water energy to heal the heart, fire energy to shield and transform. So we're working with all the elements. And then you've got the alchemists. So this is who we're becoming. And a lot of us are empowered individuals, and that's why we're targeted. So you're empowered because you have all these skills. You have all these multiple lifetimes where you've been that wise person, that magical person. And this is the lifetime when we need those skills to come forward. So I work as an alchemist, a pendulum alchemist, in fact. So this is in there as well, to teach you a little bit about alchemy and how you can make these big changes in your life and anchor them in, ground them into reality. Because we've kind of been, all this has been pushed to the back of the mind. It's been compartmentalized. It's been classified, basically. So we're in the process of debriefing, declassifying the information, bringing it forward for healing, but also alchemizing energies and information that may seem quite disturbing and traumatic. But I want to focus on the empowerment side, not the trauma side. We're healing through the trauma, and there's information in here to help you do that. Plus, I'll be touching on the debrief process when I do my presentation. So I've been spending the last year kind of memory mining, so going in there. So I work in the Akashic library, but I also working with vision questing. So I've been going into my heart, which is the first eye, and I've been going deep into, my organs and the fascia of my body, into my mind, where all these memories are held in the chakras. They're all held there within you. And I've been connecting to my higher self to get my higher self's perspective as well, because your higher self remembers everything 360 degrees. So what I can't see the perspective of, my higher self can. Right? My higher self has got the memory that I'm missing. So I've been bringing that in for integration as well. So I might, like when I had a memory of being in a Russian lab, I can see myself, I can feel myself sitting at the counter, but there's somebody else in the room with me, but I couldn't see their face initially. And then I asked my higher self to come into the memory, and I literally embodied my higher self and went and looked at the person, and I identified them. And then I reached out to that person privately, and they confirmed, yeah, I was there. So like, I would never have got that validation without seeing through the eyes of my higher self, by integrating that part of me to do that work. So I've had memories come forward, and I've been able to get the map open and track where the memory is located in the here and now. So I saw myself in a lab, and I knew it was in Russia, and I opened up the map and I did the grid work. I did, the vision questing on the map to say, okay, where am I drawn to? And I isolated it. remote viewed right into the base. And then I had another 2 people verify that for me. So this information is there. You've just got to put the work in with daily meditation and then healing and integration. But there's a lot of discernment, because for me at the beginning of last year, I was integrating everything that was coming my way. Even if there was a version of me that held a lot of trauma, I was embodying it and trying to heal it through me, rather than seeing that it was there and sending healing out and asking my soul, should I be embodying this, or would you like to take that version home for healing and integration into source energy, right? So now I'm a lot more focusing on, is it helpful or harmful? So the breakaway oracle focuses on that aspect. Yes, this might have come up, that you're in some random program, but is it helpful for you to know right now? So what's the takeaway here, right? So I look at it from a healing perspective, because primarily we're healers. Realizing that I was that asset and that I've always been the asset is kind of in the background for me, because this version of me, Julia, is a healer. Anchor Haven is the asset. That is actually my code name in programs, and I didn't know that when I named my business Anchor Haven, right? That was a bleed through. So that's quite weird. Yeah.
Nope, I love it. I love it. And I was just like writing notes here because I tend to brain fart it out. But I feel like a lot of what you're saying right now was reflective in the gemstone reading that we just did. I don't even know, because the cards that you just flashed spontaneously, like the light, we talked about you rising and shining your light. And having assistance with that. We talked about the discernment piece, treating your dream life just like your waking life. You wouldn't get in a car with a stranger, and like you're coming up with that. And also the part about alchemy, but also another part about shadows and strength, because a lot of people think shadows are evil, they're bad. You know what? Shadows are just another part of us, and there's a time and a place for those shadows that are seemingly scary to have a voice.
Strength in the darkness. Because the way I work with shadow healing is that your diamonds are forged in the dark under the greatest pressure. So that's when I do shadow healing with my wellness groups, that's what we're doing. We're going into the darkness, but we're bringing so much light, to reflect and bounce off those diamonds. So there is shadow healing to be done. This is a trauma healing journey, and a big aspect of that is healing your heart, and especially healing your solar plexus as well. Your personal power takes a massive hit. Your throat takes a big hit. So it's bringing everything back into balance. So shadow strength in the darkness. That's an aspect of the work that I do at Anchor Haven.
So it's like there's a connection to chakras too in your oracle. It just defaulted to the throat chakra, the heart chakra. And so I can see how your breakaway oracle could even be an oracle series. And I think about the gemstone reading commenting that you have like a whole new life now, a new matrix. And to me, this is exciting because even your social media is alchemizing, like your biography, it would kind of was changing a little bit because of all of this exciting news coming out. And the very language, anchoring, Anchor Haven, that was your code name was Anchor, the business of the anchor in the water, on the boat, holding the boat in place, the sinking in, the grounding that comes with it. And you've said memory mining. I've never heard that expression before. I really like that expression, memory mining, because, when you're mining for gold and stuff, you might find other things that distract you. So when you're memory mining, you got to stay focused on your healing or whatever it is. And then, and I also wrote down trauma, because transforming trauma into treasures, because story medicine is so powerful and can be so potent that sometimes it gets addictive and it becomes a problem. People get caught in their stories. The stories become so familiar that it creates a sense of safety, even though it's traumatic and triggering. But in truth, feeling traumatic and triggered is what's familiar to you, and that's what keeps you safe. And it's making these connections and breaking away, like that language, break away oracle, like not just break away civilizations, but also breaking away from this programming, breaking away from this fog and this subconscious programming, these thoughts, feeling, opinions that aren't even our own, and the vulnerability that comes with it. Like when you reached out to somebody and you were like, hey, I remember you. Do you remember me? Like, what about if that person didn't feel safe and told you no?
Yes. So I do have
you know?
experience of this, because not many people remembered me for a long time. It was like I was cloaked. And then I had a session with somebody and they uncloaked me, and suddenly people could start to see me then. But there was somebody that I reached out to and I literally said, I have this memory of you. Is it okay if we connect? And they responded with boundaries, saying, I was there, but I do not have the capacity to go into this right now. And I totally respect that. I really do. And it's not easy to hear, but even with my dyad, even with my super soldier brother, he distanced himself from me. So we had an initial connection. We knew it was true, and it'd been confirmed in the records and things. And we felt the energetic connection, but he didn't respond to messages. And then for a long time, I was thinking, what have I done? Is there something wrong with me? But it's because he's integrating his own trauma healing journey. And for somebody who remembers everything about me, the light and the dark, right? Different versions of me. So he has memories of me that if I knew the truth, I could potentially unalive myself, because it's so awful. So in a way, he is protecting me from my own darkness, from things that he knows. So he's taking his time, because I didn't, at the beginning, I wasn't thinking about, well, I've got this memory. Is that other person going to be okay to receive the memory? I wasn't thinking about that. I wasn't thinking what they remembered and how traumatic it was. I wasn't seeing past my own memory of sort of just seeing them running, or being on a ship with them, or waking up in a lab. So the very first memory, I was waking up in a lab after a mission, and they were opposite me and they were asleep, and I was being kind of like fed with like a nanotech, like a femto. So I said, I've had this memory, we're connected somehow. And we did a Zoom, but the energy was very heightened, and I knew that this person and I did not really have a good connection in a way, because there's trauma. I knew I could feel the trauma, but I didn't really want to spend that much time with this person because of the trauma. But I couldn't really see past their initial encounter, that they got the memory cascade coming in, because we get a flood of memories at times. And that cascade can put you into psychosis if you're not careful. So we have to be very careful about who we approach. And I had a lady reach out to me in the last few months and say, I remember you and you hurt me, but it's okay, I forgive you. So there's going to be plenty of people who start to come forward in the next year or so who start to remember, I remember you as this genetic genius who was evil, because that's the training that we went through. We were basically living in a mirror world where everyone was bad, or you were programmed to do a certain job. And I laugh because it's uncomfortable, because I can't fathom it. But yeah, there's going to be plenty of people that do not have the capacity to deal with these connections. And I'm quite fortunate that the person I'm connected to is a sibling energy and not a romantic trauma twin energy, because that for some people is just awful. And they really have terrible trouble integrating. They try and rebond with that person. And that sometimes can be the worst thing to do, because then you end up in a situation where feelings are heightened, but they're not for this reality. Do you know what I mean? It's not even for this reality. The person I'm bonded to, we've known each other for 300,000 years. We've come from the same soul family. We incarnated on this planet together at the same time, because I've done a lot of work into this. And I actually asked, why am I here? And I realized he was coming.
Hey, Julia, sorry to interrupt. Scooch over a bit, because you're like this in my other view. Okay, you're good now.
Okay. So it looks fine on my screen. So I realized that they were coming to Earth, and I just wanted to make sure they were safe. And that's why I came to Earth. It's like I'd had no plan to come here except to protect that other person, right? To protect my brother. But then as soon as we arrived, we ended up getting captured and kind of put into these programs straight away. So yeah, so sometimes you do have to be very, very careful who you reach out to, because they may or may not remember you. And even if they do, it's probably unhealthy. The connection is not healthy, because these programs were all trauma-based.
Somebody told me years ago in my childhood, if anybody ever approaches you and says, I know you, or you and I were siblings in a past life, to turn around and run the other way. And I thought, well, why? Wouldn't we want to connect? And it's like, like what was up with that in my childhood and now making connections today. When you were talking, I wrote down trauma bonding, because it's true. A lot of people tend to be really bonded, but how? Through trauma. That is like such a toxic way to be bonded with somebody, especially in super soldier programs, because things like rape happen, people are getting tortured. And
they literally break you. So you go through a process of being broken, and they break you with like rituals and abuse and torture, because they want to fracture your mind, and your mind can be fractured into over 2,000 personalities, and each personality can be extracted and put into a clone body to become 2,000 assets, basically. So they put you through a breaking process, but they do that when you're a child, because you're the most receptive as a child, which is very awful. So I do have memory of being drowned, and I thought that this was something that happened in the here and now when I was like 7, 8 years old. I have a memory of being in a swimming pool. There was a man pushing me under the water to the point I left my body, but in my memory my dad dives in to save me. And recently I discovered that's not true. It's a screen memory, something that was placed in my mind to cover up the truth of that I was actually, that happened to me over and over, but it was in the programs. So at Project Phoenix, so at Montauk. And I know you've spoken to Chris Latterer quite a bit, so he has Montauk stories. I generally try not to talk too much about it, because people get stuck in the breaking process and they don't move past it. Whereas I want to know, why was I going through that? Okay, they were training me to be an asset. I was a time soldier. So what happened then? What time missions did I go on? What was I doing? I was retrieving artifacts. Okay, where was that? What artifacts was I retrieving, and what happened to them? So that's the kind of perspective that I take. So, but I did have an altar come forward recently because of that drowning experience. I actually heard somebody's voice. So I watched a video, somebody suggested a name. So I thought, well, I'll look up this person, and I heard their voice, and all they said was, "Hello, everybody." And my whole body went into panic attack, overwhelmed, to the point I was almost buckled on the floor with trauma memories coming forward. And an aspect of me that had been locked away in my mind, a 7-year-old called Kit Kat, who was my survival altar, came out. And Christy Campbell, CC33, was able to tune in to that version of me. So because I'd been through all these torturous moments, my mind had fractured naturally, and it created a survival personality. So Julia was pushed to the back and Kit Kat came forward. So Kit Kat is just another version of Anchor Haven that will always be 7 years old. But she went through that breaking process. I touch on this in my presentation. So this is triggering for some people. This is why I don't talk about Project Phoenix very often, because generally in these Monarch programs, that's where you go to have your mind fractured. Most of my time was spent in Kruger programs where they work on your body. But yeah, so in my presentation, I talk do a bit of a brief overview about global Monarch programs. So I wasn't just used, I didn't just grow up in Canada as that other aspect of me at the Monarch Deep Underground military base there, and in America at Project Phoenix. I was literally transferred all over the planet in the here and now. So I thought I was a backpacker traveling around the world. I wasn't. I was reassigned into multiple projects, and that's what I get into in my presentation. That's why it was hard for me to put it into 35 minutes, because there's a lot of information. So in my presentation on the 13th at the Summer Days conference, I just do a very brief introduction. And even with the breakaway Oracle cards, I could only do 52 cards. And really, you could have 350, right? You really could. So yeah, you're right. It probably will be a series of cards. But the very first limited edition is releasing this month. So that's exciting.
And, you know, I meant to make this comment earlier, but the limited edition, for those of you tuning in, is physically going to Julia's like home. So she's going to be touching them, and just like the spiritual energy is already there, but now that physical contact will be with the actual Julia Anchor Haven. So that's really cool.
I'm going to be blessing every single deck separately. And
No.
I'm literally going to be doing drumming and things like that and crystal activations on each deck separately because there's only 25, so I might as well. So I'm going to air out each one. I'm going to spend time with it. I'm going to do heart blessings, drumming, and other activations with the deck. Plus, they've already got my energy in anyway because I spent so much time creating the images. But yeah, I'm really going to sit with 25 different decks one by one over the next 2 weeks. That's why they're not releasing until like the 15th because I've got them and I'm going to do sacred ceremony with them. Yeah.
Wow. And you know what? That'll give you time too for like another moon cycle to come in effect. And anybody who gets these oracle cards is going to be a real treasure for them to have. And I'll show my BMAC again at some point to highlight Julia's presentation there. But I wrote a few things down because like going back to the masculine, feminine, you're very masculine spiritually. And you came here to do what? Protect. You're the sister and you came to protect the brother, right? That was maybe that kid cat aspect of you. And then I was glancing over your presentation and somewhere, and this cute picture of you, by the way, as a kid, that there's a comment where there's like a age 15-year-old you, and that's the kid cat. Maybe I'm getting mixed up, but
no,
I connected with age 14, Gina.
The smallest one, the blonde-haired one, that's Kit Kat. She's only 7. But when you see the picture of me next to her, I've got black eyes, and that's the here and now picture where you can see that I've definitely got some kind of activation there. So you'll clearly see it when you go back on the presentation now. So the smallest version, that's when I was mind fractured at age 7. Yeah, that's when they do it. But the older aspects of me between 14 and 16, that's when I went through like the final training, like brutal martial arts training before they send you out as assets and time missions. It's around 15 years old where you get full on and you basically die over and over and over to brutalize you through this training. So you can see the difference in the two pictures of me. One, I look quite happy at age 14 because my mind's been wiped. But the age 16 version of me, you can see I've literally been through something quite traumatic in that.
I'll have to look closer at those, which is another good reason why people listening should buy a ticket for Julia's presentation, which was hell for her to present, which I'm sure we'll get into that. When you talk about being a time soldier, what exactly do you mean by time soldier? I don't get that. Like, are you like going from this year to that year? Are you in charge of time? Tell me everything.
Yeah. So there's an aspect in my presentation where I talk about when I tuned into another version of me last year. And she was 15 years old, but she was on a time mission. So in these projects, especially Project Phoenix and some of the merge missions that I was on, which is another team I was in, so they target people specifically who have got Celtic lineage DNA and who have ability to open portals and stargates. So ancient technology. Well, those of us who have like psychic abilities that are so powerful, we can open up portals to other realms of existence, to other time streams. I call myself an Akashic Oracle Weaver, and this has come from Aralam, who is like a conscious being who's watched me do this. So as an anchor, myself and my dyad Drago Reed, we both anchor time. We anchor timelines. That's what we do. So if we opened up a portal, we'd be anchoring that across time and space to make sure people would come in and out. So he and I working together as a dyad, as a pair, he would be on a mission and I would anchor him into that mission, into that timeline, and vice versa.
And just to clarify, when you say anchor a timeline, like if I was a portal, had the power to open a portal and I was you or Draco, I could like anchor, hold the energy so nobody's gonna die because the portal closes or gets stuck in one dimension.
Yeah.
Are you also simultaneously like a gatekeeper? So it's like no, like while the portal's open, no other dimensions are sneaking their way in, intentionally or not. Okay.
So when I see time, it's like when I look at cards. So I see, when I fan out the cards, to me they're different timelines, different options. So when I scan the cards, when I do readings for people, certain timelines will present themselves. So I'm looking for setting the intention for the highest timeline, the highest good, and that's how I pick cards for people. There's a version of me that's called Angelique, and this is not in the presentation, but last year I started to tune into this aspect of me, Angelique, who is still a version of me. She's got a piece of my soul, you know, and I tuned into the fact that she was on the moon, which is a base. So Luna is a moon base, but she was kind of trapped there. And I telepathed with her, and I used my pendulum to find out what was going on. And she, like me, had the same Celtic abilities to be able to open up realms and, you know, connect in with the elemental beings, like Tuatha De Danann DNA. But she was being used and captured on the moon base to open up the Stargate on the moon and to extend its reach further than our current galaxy. So they were anchoring her energy to open up a stable time stream so that they could extend it to multiple Stargates at the same time. But I had it verified by a couple of other people that she was trapped over there and it wasn't good. They were draining her basically. So it was a couple of peers of mine actually went to try and retrieve her. And then I was able to kind of integrate her back into this version of me. So it's like she stands beside me. So she's still in my energetic field. We're still connected, but she is an anchor node for one timeline, whereas I anchor in another. So, and then there are moments when we merge together to anchor in this highest timeline. So like the regressive forces are always messing with the time streams, and the time streams are actually conscious beings. So there are moments where we have to support them to make sure the time streams are safe, because they're conscious beings. Yeah, it's not like this. Yeah, it's hard to explain really. But yeah, so this version of
I know what you mean.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
The like everything is conscious, and if it's not, it will become conscious. But somebody like yourself, like if I was a scientist, you know, experimenting, I always use myself as an example. But if I was experimenting on you and I desired to merge timelines or to move this over here, then it would be very ideal for me to kidnap somebody like you and then just, you know, throw ethics to the side and drain your energy like a battery and just, you know, dispose of you and get another clone alter. But at some point that runs out. And so then what happens? So I can
well, it's a bit tricky
why they slice and dice you so much.
Yeah, last year there's 24 million versions of me on and off planet. So yeah, I'm not running.
Party, right? It sounds like a good time. 24 million Julias. All right. Let's anchor ourselves down.
So when this number came out of my ACO records, and somebody else had looked into my record and said, oh, there's 10,000 clones of you. And I was like, whoa, that's insane. And then when I got the ACO records pulled, which are like multi-dimensional military files, like a very deep Akashic record, and then they use computer technology as well. And they said, actually, it's closer to like 24 million. So I worked with a friend of mine to see, are they all positive? And no, they were not. So there was versions of me that were being used as food, versions of me that were being used nefariously. So we basically worked together quantumly to uncreate certain versions of me and take that soul essence, because each clone needs a drop of my soul, a soul bite, like an operating system, a shard of my soul. So, and you know, and your soul is massive, so it's not like it's but it does drain me, because there was 24 million. It did lower my energies. So I work as like a primary function, like an operating system, like a management. So we started to kind of collapse and dissolve out versions that we use nefariously to save them in a way. But when we talk about clones, I don't know if you've seen Orphan Black. Have you watched that TV show? No, you're terrible with TV shows. Okay, so Orphan Black is a soft disclosure TV show which is based on the Kruger cloning program. Again. Oh, sorry. So it looks okay on my screen. I don't know why, if it looks okay on the video here. And so yeah, Orphan Black is a soft disclosure TV show that's based on, and this has been confirmed, it's based on the Kruger cloning program that Drago Reed and I were in. So it's based on similar information to ourselves. So when you see that character, not only does she look like me in every single version, I've had my hair exactly like that, but there's also a male version, a brother. So this is how I kind of connected to realize, hold on, I've actually met a version of myself in France in 2016. So I bring that into my presentation. So I know what it feels like to see a clone, to see another person that looks like me. So as to see another piece of my soul, within meters away, it's very uncomfortable. You get an alert. But when I was watching the TV show, I realized she's exactly like me. This is so bizarre. And I started to really feel like this is like my life. What is going on? And then there's a brother in the show. So it was, I went to see somebody and I said, I feel like that show is based on me. And I know I've seen a clone of me. And they said, that is exactly like you, but there's a brother. And I can see that this brother is this person, which was Drago Reed. And then as soon as they said it, memories started to come forward of me and him together in these programs. So I can't remember where I was going with this now. But each clone that's made of you, each biological copy, which may or may not look like you, if it's got a piece of your soul in it, it becomes part of you. Yeah. So I work as a management system. So I can open a map in my mind that will show me where clones are potentially. And this is very dangerous to put out there, that people know that. But what I've realized is, because I can have a management connection to the clone, which we call an echo, so you have an echo chain, a link of clones connected to you, because I have this overseeing kind of aspect to me, I'm targeted and kept safe. Okay, so I'm in a targeting program. So for whoever wants to target me, you know, nefariously, there's other factions that want to keep me alive because of the clones. So in a way, I'm a bit like Voldemort. Do you get Harry Potter references? Yeah, okay. Yeah, so in Harry Potter, Voldemort has split his soul.
I watched the first one.
Okay, good, thank you. You get brownie points. So he split his soul into Horcruxes, and to kill Voldemort, you literally need to find and track down every bit of soul bites, yeah, which is the Horcrux. Whether he's put it in an object or a person, whatever, you've got to find it. So it kind of works the same way with us. So each clone has a management system, and the actual primary generally might be off the planet. So, you know, they wouldn't normally keep the original version of you on this planet where you're only going to live 80 years, when they could keep your original version on Mars where you could easily live 200 years. It's very different out there. So, yeah, so when it comes to clones and connecting in, that's something that I have an ability to do now. And everything opened up for me the moment I realized that was true. Right, so in my presentation I talk about seeing through the eyes of my clones, but also connecting in with another version of me that wasn't a clone. It was me on a time mission 35 years ago. I went on the mission to come to the here and now, 35 years in the future, but because we were in the same time stream, my mind connected into her mind and I embodied my younger body for a minute or so. It was very odd, but I got to talk to her and she showed me memories, but it was me when I was 15. It was very strange.
Yeah, and then back when you were 15, having this experience, wondering what is going on, and now you're in today's present moment going back there. That's phenomenal. And, you know, all this talk about clones, like, which one? I mean, like if I said to you, hey, Julie, I remember you, and you punched me out in a past life, and now I'm approaching you about it. Like, how do I know?
This version. Yeah, it might not be this version of me. It might be Walter that's put in another body. So it's still me.
What do you do with that? Yeah, what do you do with that? Like, I mean...
Yeah, so it's still me, but I might not have that memory until that version of me kind of expires and I integrate that back in. So there's multiple versions of me at any one time in multiple projects. So so Drago Reed remembers me as Anchor Haven, but we were used as the physical versions of us were used to be trained together. So I was physically taken through portal to Montauk. I was physically taken through a portal to the Dom in Toronto, right? So, but there's also versions of me where I connected into Montauk in a vision quest, but I was a boy. I was an 8-year-old boy who was like blonde. So that boy was created as a different copy. So he was just a random DNA perhaps, or maybe he was a male version of me created, but he had a drop of my soul in there. So he was still me. So when I had that vision quest and I was able to connect into that version of me, I integrated him. So I've got his memories. Yeah, so it's very complicated. It's very strange to think of yourself multidimensionally, but in certain factions they take the physical version of you, so this body goes, but they'll take you within like a minute millisecond in a way and bring you back within that millisecond as well. So there's no disruption to the time and space in a way, but I might go on a mission for 20, 40, 60 years and then come back into the exact moment or a few seconds either side of when I left. So it is very complex. So when you work with Monarch,
Yes.
they like to take you Monarch and Nachtwaffen, they take you your physical body. When you work in like Kruger, they'll have a clone waiting there for you. So they just do a consciousness transfer. Yeah. Okay.
And when they come and take you, like when they suspend time and space and you're gone for like 60 years or whatever,
Yeah.
that tells me that there's somebody else doing what you do, being that time grounder anchor so that they can do that. And then it makes me curious, do they desire to do that? Do you desire
It's
to
kind of
go?
think of it as I'm multi-positioned. So I'm in two places at the same time in a way, because you're dealing with seconds of difference. Yeah. So it's not like my family would notice that I'm not in my bed, because I'm coming back within like microseconds in a way. So, but yeah, you're right. So it could be that just there's a piece of me that's like right now, there's clones of me that are in Japan that have a piece of my soul. And they're living their life and they've got their own name, their own family, their own identity, but they're still me because they're my DNA and they're my soul. And I can shift my consciousness from me to them at any one time. Not everybody can do that, but I can. So I've I had an example last year. I could have been China. I'm not sure if it's China or Japan. I'm not too sure now. But I remember walking into a building and going into the lift, into the elevator, riding the elevator up. And I'm at the back of this person's mind, and I'm Asian, but I'm at the back of her mind. And she was going into a meeting. She sits down, she takes a pad and paper, and I think I'm looking around through her eyes thinking, I don't think I'm meant to be in this meeting. And I came back into my body. So because I'm working in a vision quest quantumly, I can access everything through the 0 point field. So I can tune into wherever my soul is, basically. So it's weird. It's batshit crazy. Yeah. So this is why this 30-minute presentation was very hard to put together. So I'm just lightly touching on these things in the presentation. And then, yeah, so
Julia wanted to give up her Q&A for those of you tuning in. And I was like, no, you're not giving up your Q&A. You get 35 minutes tops. But you did it, you know, and vision questing is really important because the part of the quest is people think, oh, I'm going to get answers. But really, the quest is questing more and more questions and more questions. You know, when you talk about dropping the soul in each, like I picture the scientists making clones of you, but they have like this little jar of your soul and they put a little dash of Julia in each one. And with me comes the power of simplicity. I don't have a science background, but it made me think about elixirs because I use vodka when I do my spirit water. And if I wanted to add a little bit of this into another bottle, then this essence would live on. But if I just smash this against the wall, then it's gone forever. So, you know, we're made of water and there's that pushing, pulling energy of the moon. And it made me think about things like control and how the very essence of water could be playing a role in this and light. And it just, you know, I thought it was really interesting.
I can talk about the Vision Quest process a little bit because I do live vision questing with Sean Bond on his channel every couple of months.
This is where you get more than 35 minutes. So
so I work with Sean Bond, who is a very empowered person. He's very shamanic, very sacred space holder in his own way. He's got very high authority is how I think of it, because I feel very safe when I work with Sean Bond. And when we do live vision questing, I generally have an intention or a memory that I want to explore. But this process could take us 2 to 3 hours. And because it's the quest, so we start off with a side quest, getting relaxed, getting comfortable. One of the last ones we did, we actually got a mission coming from Zeus. So we started to see Mount Olympus was there, but it actually needed some kind of healing to like the environment of it. So we went on this vision quest to kind of collect things, and we did some work to the environment, and we got a medal from Zeus and that kind of thing. Then we went on to the next side quest. So we're doing this process of side questing, and I'm going deeper and deeper into my mind. I say there's a memory vault at the back because it feels like the memories are coming up and over up and over. That's how it feels. And in a way, Sean Bond bypasses security protocols that are in place and vaults that have been locked off by the secret space programs. Because I have tried to do QHHT in the past with a friend here in the UK, but I just knew that they could not access that vault. That I was like a winter soldier and you needed an access phrase or code. And I talk about that in my program when I actually did hear an access code and how it unlocked my mind. But with Sean Bond, it's as if we're bypassing it by going very, very deep into the vision quest. But then you get to a process and you're getting closer and closer to the memory vault. So alarms start to go off and your mind starts to throw challenges at you. And at one point, the floor dropped away in my mind, and it was like Indiana Jones in there. And we were having to like traverse the walls and things to get forward. Or I saw Anubis come forward, and I knew instantly that that was something very dark, and I banished it to the back of my mind. Yeah. So it's like an empowerment journey that you're taking when you do a vision quest with Sean Bond. And we started to get closer and closer to the memories that we were looking for, but we had to battle through. So it's quite fascinating, the journey, because we're doing a partnered vision quest. There's certainly some things that he could not see, whereas we've done it before. We've gone on a vision quest together, and he'd actually created a landscape as he's talking through the journey. And I said to him, how do you know that landscape? That's something I've created in my mind. So he was telepathing with me and voicing my own landscape to me. It was very bizarre. But while we're doing all this, it was live streaming, and there was like 30 people in the audience following along, doing their own vision quest in a way. So we do it as an educational resource. But yeah, so it's a journey where you do several side quests before you actually access the memory vault. And then when I did access the memory vault, it was very surprising what I found in there. I basically realized that I've been living a double life in India for 10 years. And I clearly saw and spent a day in the life of me in the Indian secret space programs. Yeah, so it was so bizarre. But that had been locked away, compartmentalized. But working with Sean Bond, I was able to slowly access and kind of gain the confidence of my memory vaults. Yeah. So it's like your mind doesn't want you to access things that are scary or dark, and it puts obstacles in your way. So we had to quest through the process, and it took us 3 hours, and that was all live streamed.
That's amazing. And, compartmentalized, that terminology came up a lot in my teaching career. And it comes up a lot too when people are, I feel like in a lot of professional backgrounds, committee meetings, information tends to be compartmentalized because it's better controlled, it's more secretive, and it's harder to access. And your mind's number one job is to protect you, even if it means lying to you and creating false inhibiting beliefs. And when you were talking about your journey and whatnot and timelines, I thought about that female jaguar, because you're like earlier when you were talking, you went like this with your hand, like as if you had your oracle cards and you were making a line, like a timeline. And I thought, that's like the river or something, like your oracle cards reading left to right. And then it would be interesting, your vision questing with Sean Bond, if this business of the river comes up, and also made me think of the river of time, which I didn't make that connection when we were doing the gemstone reading earlier.
There actually was like a waterfall. Have you watched the movie The Goonies?
Yes, I watched
so when they go down that sliding
chute
ago. And they end up in the lagoon inside a cave, but there's like a ship or whatever. There was like that kind of thing in my mind. So we did go on like a water journey, and then we got into this big pool, which is like a memory and emotions pool, So yeah, so that kind of thing does come up in the vision quest. Yeah.
Memories, emotions, the emotion part, the females associated with the water.
Yeah.
I wrote down a lot of things. I wrote, just for the sake of saying it, I mean, your level of comfort, however deep you want to go. But when you said Project Phoenix, for me, I think about Phoenix as in the Phoenix rising, like the eagle condor dying and rebirthing and turning to ashes. That's the metaphor I work with. So when you talk about Project Phoenix, I'm like, ooh, that's like synchronicity. But then also for me, my dragon is so pitch dark purple that it looks black, and he was masculine. That dragon died rose from the ashes and became the orange dragon, for me anyways, known as Isis. And I associate Isis as the phoenix. And so I feel like there's connections I haven't made yet, but Project Phoenix, I feel like, is linked to somehow to Project 30, Isis Unity Consciousness.
No.
And,
So Project Phoenix is the government name for a project that you might have heard as Montauk when Chris Lessero was talking about that torture project. That's the actual file name is Project Phoenix, and it's about time missions. Most people call it the Montauk Project, but the actual name is the Project Phoenix. Yes,
I'm familiar with Montauk, but not the Project Phoenix.
It's the same project. It's the same project, and it's not good. Yeah, not good. So,
because the power about me is I'm the village idiot, and I thrive off of that. I used to be uncomfortable about it, but like, because like Julia said, I don't watch a lot of scary movies or anything.
I did make a card, and I'll show you the card. So the card itself should be empowering for Project Phoenix. So because we're not giving into the negative narratives when we do the breakaway oracle, we're talking about it to bring it out, but we want to focus on the positive aspect. So you see the phoenix there. So of course we're tuning into that transformational energy, and then you've got the hourglass representing the time missions. But yeah, so it was called Project Phoenix, which a lot of people just refer to as the Montauk Project, but both of them have got negative energy on those names. So in the breakaway oracle deck, we'll be looking at the healing aspect of healing from Project Phoenix. So re-changing that narrative so that it is something more positive. Yeah, like shamanically, we think of the phoenix like as a transformation, don't we? Rebirthing. Yeah, so unfortunately, it's just got a really shitty name for that project, and we need to
take it back, right?
Take it back.
You know what?
It. Yes, yeah.
That reminds me of here in North America, the word queer, the word queer used to be so derogatory. Like people who identified as queer, they called themselves queer. That was a name they gave themselves. But then people were making fun of queer so bad that the word queer became derogatory. It was like a bad word. Don't say it. But in the queer community, at least here in Canada, they're like, no, that's who we are. That's our name. Call us queer. That's, like obviously not making fun of us, but that like we're taking the name back. So when you're talking about us, call us queer. And I feel like when you're talking about like Phoenix, like that's what I'm hearing. It's like you should be able to say Project Phoenix and like feel good about it, not just associate it with something bad.
Chris has got his book, and people talk about the Montauk boys, and that term references girls as well. It's not just about boys. So the Montauk boys is kind of like that's everybody who went through those programs, everybody who died, and the small amount of people that remain. So the Montauk boys is used as an affectionate term, I think, by some people, to kind of remember those that passed on. And even in my deck, it says to everybody that's lost, we will remember you, we stand united. So there is I'm just got a flush of energy then. So we do honor everybody that went through those projects, and because of the MK Ultra, the mind control, mind fracturing, 80% of people died. Right, they really did. It's a very high number of people did not make it through the breaking process. So us talking about it, we're doing it to honor the energy of the fallen warriors. Yeah, and some of them were very, very young, very young indeed, but they didn't make it through. So so we do talk about it, we do bring it forward, and we do try and reclaim the wording in a positive light so that we bring it as a healing aspect, because primarily I'm a healer. Unfortunately, there's aspects of me that were used in the programs to do very terrible science projects where you wouldn't think that, okay, you're a healer now, but look at you then. When people remember, they're not going to be happy and they won't want to talk to me. And I have one of my best friends, I say to them, when you remember me properly, you're not going to be my friend. Yeah, because I just know what I'm capable of. And my dyad remembers what I'm capable of as well. Remembers seeing me at my worst and things like that. So yeah, so that is hard connection to have. I do not have all my memories. Yeah, I only have a very small percentage of my memories. So I do have a lot more than others, but I have a small percentage of them. So it is quite tricky. Let's see this question here.
Yeah,
How many
Jules has a
times
comment.
we would have been considered dead? Yeah, but put in the regen tanks. So we were basically put through so much brutality in training to the point that we stopped breathing, and then they put you through a regeneration process and revive you and reclone you and that kind of thing. So I was talking recently on my channel about, somebody sent me a video about a spy in North Korea and how the process they went through for training and how brutal that was. And there was an image of the woman sitting there with 3 blades in front of her, 3 daggers, and she was explaining how they had to stab themselves in the stomach over and over. And that activated a memory that I was going through last August, when I remember seeing my partner, my dyad, my brother in the SSP, walking up to him looking happy, but then from behind my back I was bringing out a dagger and stabbing him in the stomach. Now I know that that was training. Yeah, that I was put through that training, and he had to do the same thing to me. And it was just training to desensitize you, and you'd be regenerated over and over and over, so that it just became nothing. So you died hundreds of times, and that's just part of the job. Yeah, so it's awful, but we need to be able to talk about it to heal the energy on it. Yeah.
Yes, and my understanding is when it comes to cells and cloning, that the cloned cells are not comparable to the original cell ever. And that's a big problem with cloning, because the clone,
this
they
depends on the
die
quality.
easily,
Yeah,
the quality's not there, it falls apart, the forms
so
won't hold.
Oh, see, that's not true for all of them. So it depends what lab you're in, basically. It depends what technology you have available and where the DNA, the soul technology has come from. So, yeah, you might have, like you see in Hollywood. In Hollywood, you see low quality clones are out there in public, and you see them malfunctioning and things like that, but they could actually be synthetics as well. So it's got a synthetic body, but it's got a human brain and a soul bite or whatever. But so you can get very good quality clones. So those that were used in the programs generally would be good quality. I've not identified any of me that I thought were really like low vibe quality. I don't know, but it does depend on what program you're in, what faction, what access they have to technology, and how much money they've probably got. I don't know. So yeah, so I don't remember too much. So James is saying high quality clones are stabilized. Yeah, so a good quality clone would be probably used in the secret space programs and things. Generally what you see in the government, you can see that they are poor quality clones, but everybody in Hollywood basically is a clone already. They always have been. Yeah, so the real version of them is held off planet on Mars. Like even like Angelina Jolie, there's a version of her in the breakaways and things like that. There really is. Yeah, so people have seen it. I don't remember that myself, but people have mentioned that they see famous people off planet all the time. So the version on planet is a clone.
It's really interesting, and I've heard all kinds of stories too, that like celebrities and whatnot, they were already figured out and organized before they came to this planet. It was just like an unfolding process. I had a little laugh when you said malfunction, because in my dream life, that's what I do. I malfunction, and but that's part of my awakening and me becoming consciousness, like conscious and autonomous at that. So that was really interesting. Earlier, you mentioned a green memory. Maybe I misunderstood that, but is a green memory like a fake memory, a happy memory?
Screen. Yes, screen, like a screen in place.
Memory.
Screen,
yeah. Oh, okay.
So yeah, that okay. It's like a fake memory. So a lot of the time they wipe your mind so that you don't remember what's happened. But every now and then they will put a screen in place. If they couldn't wipe the memory, or they wanted you to remember something, they, like for me, it was the swimming pool memory. So they put a screen in place, and what they did, I only really recently in the last couple of months realized that that wasn't fully what my memory is supposed to be. They changed the location. Right, so I thought it was in a hotel nearby in Liverpool. It wasn't. It was in Montauk. Yeah, so they changed the location. They changed the surroundings on the memory. so that I would know that I'd had that experience, that I almost died, but in reality I had died and I've been regenerated and put back into training. So, but they for some reason let me keep that memory. So I don't know if they'd had trouble wiping it from my mind because it was so traumatic, because that survival altar had been created naturally in my mind to protect Julia. So Kit Kat came forward, but yeah, they put a screen in place. So sometimes people have got memories and they're not real. They're not real memories. The details will have been changed. And a lot of people in your memory, you cannot see people's faces. They use technology to kind of fade out people's faces. That's quite normal.
Do you ever wonder if Kit Kat or another part of you put that screen in there, that maybe there's a part of you that was like, hey, let's do this, let's do that? Like maybe there's a part of you that's the scientist doing this?
It's possible that my mind naturally did that my mind tried to alter it and
spontaneously came about, right? So,
yeah, so she came in to see, I believe that she was naturally created because I was dying. So my mind naturally created her. Whereas like the other altars, and I know I've got like 35 other ones that I've identified, they were created under the trauma of the programs. So they have different aspects that have been trained and programmed to do certain things and stuff. But yeah, it's possible that my mind changed that memory to protect me. That is a possibility, yeah.
I bet that's very scary to the scientists who created you and behind all this, because that's the point where they can't control. And it's kind of like just using power of simplicity here, but like colors, the whole rainbow spectrum is inside of you. So Kit Kat, for example, is like the color purple, but you don't see the color purple. You only see the primary colors, red, blue, and yellow. Well, and then all of a sudden the scientists are like, what the hell is this purple? There's Kit Kat all of a sudden, you know? So, and when you were talking about wiping the brain, Chris Latier and I had an interesting conversation, because his mind has been wiped so many times over, and yet he still has these memories creeping up. But I'm telling you, like from a hypnotherapist perspective, the mind can only handle one issue at a time. So what are these scientists doing? Like, it just, I guess it bothers me, because if you're going to do something, you might want to do it right. But if you have like 300,000 million billion memories that need to be wiped, then that means you need 300,000 million billion mind swiping processes done with an integration period that follows, because the biological one you are requires that time. Like they keep denying your biology. They keep abusing and using your biology to the point of exhaustion where you die. And then your memories, I don't think they're haunting you. I think they're haunting the scientists. You know, and it defaults to haunting you because you're the one remembering it.
So say my mind is split into 50 different personalities, and each one has a different access code. Say you come to me and you say the color blue, and then a different personality will come forward because you've said that access code. That personality will be trained to do a specific job, and then after they do that job, the memory gets wiped and it goes back and Julia comes back forward, right? So the mind of an asset is completely compartmentalized to that point. So recently I was listening to somebody talk on a video, and that everybody's terrified of this person who's passed away now, but they're notorious from the programs. And I heard their voice and I found myself being very calm. And then I realized 20 minutes has gone by and I basically altered out into a different personality who was waiting for that voice to say the right code, the right word, because that voice, that person, was my handler from a program. Right, so somebody that I had been bonded with, who I trusted, but they knew what keys and codes to say, and that would activate a specific personality. Yeah, so sometimes it's the things people say. So I heard somebody say a phrase on a video, and that activated implants in my body. It activated a memory cascade, a flood to come in. So yeah, it's very programmed and isolated. So each personality is isolated. So I don't fully remember how that works. I don't have all of that information right now, but I'm experiencing it. So I'm learning quickly over the last
year. It's a lot to experience. So one of my questions is like, what gives? Like, I mean, because it's easy to slip into a conversation about the ET agenda and whatnot. Your focus, at least at this time, is the super space program. But like, what gives? Like, ultimately, they're abusing folks like yourself so that they can have a better planet Earth, or like what is the reason behind all of this?
To be honest, I do not
conscious
know.
Evolution and curiosity.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more humans off planet than there are on planet, and so there's like trillions of Solarians that live out in space, on the breakaway Japanese colonies and German colonies and on spaceships and things. So I really don't know what their agenda is, because a lot of people don't even know that Earth is still a thing. And yeah, so I think they're just running down this planet, and then they're gonna go into space basically and continue on there where they have been for a very long time. Yeah, we just don't have that in our awareness. But now we've got, you know, the Disclosure Day movies coming forward that's going to start to, and UFO files are being released. So it's a very small trickle of disclosure that's coming in, but it is all having an impact, I think. So yeah, I don't know what the end game is. I know if I had the option right now to take my family and just live off planet, I would, because life is generally better in the breakaway colonies for a majority of people, I believe, anyway. Yeah, so it's $1 million question, Terry. You're right. Yeah, we don't know why they're doing these things, really. I'm not aware.
I mean, there's so many theories out there, right? But one theory is that, like you said, a lot of people don't even know about planet Earth. They don't even know about us. Apparently, we are very, very sacred. We are front page news. We are like our biology and our relationship with bacteria. Like that would just be the answer that so many folk, if you will, are praying for and fighting over. Earlier, when you said the word asset, I've heard that word before, but it's a scary term because it basically means that you're being completely objectified, even though you're a sovereign, autonomous being. You're being treated like an object.
Programs, you're owned. You are a product. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're literally an asset, a product.
Yeah.
And like your blood, if you will, it's like not even your blood. It's like they bought and sold it, and like a Frankenstein put you together. But what's really special is like nature always wins. Nature always finds a way, even with Kit Kat surfacing. And that makes me excited because I know it makes them scared. And in my dream life, I'm still figuring it out too, but I work with the bad guys, if you will. I was a total bad guy. But somewhere in my dream life, I come here to investigate, and people don't know who I am. And then when they realize who I am, they're like, oh no. So the more I talk with you, it's like, I wonder how we're connected, because I feel like I'm before the space program. I don't really understand it myself. And then John Whitberg. So John, hopefully he'll be at the conference in September or December. But like, this is about you. It's not about John. But like, how does John fit in?
I collaborated with John on the card deck. We collaborated on it.
So. But like, why? Like, was he your commander officer? Was he your husband? Was he your son or father?
No,
like, what is the relationship?
So I collaborated with him on this deck, on the Breakaway Oracle deck. But yeah, we are connected in the programs, but we actually collaborated on this deck that I've created. But in the program, so I was reading John Whitberg's book last year, and I started to think about if one of the characters was me. Because there's a character who's called Wajet, who's like a snake goddess and everything, and I work with snake energies, and people have seen snakes in my throat, and you know, there's that ET like being that's Naga, half snake, half human. So I've reached out to John Whitberg, and you know, for me that was a big deal because he's a bit of a celebrity in the community. He's written like 4 books or whatever. So I reached out to him and said, I think I'm this person. He said, that's not you, but I'm going to FaceTime you. And we FaceTimed, and he said, I know you. I know you from a Japanese breakaway colony. You're a student of mine. Yeah, and I trained you to be a spy. Right. And at the time, this was very welcome because anybody else that had been reaching out to me just knew me as Anchor Haven, who was either somebody who's extremely aggressive, or they knew me as Ella, who was a very mad genetic genius scientist. So, but he knows me as somebody else who I call Lucia. And Lucia was a German spy in the breakaway colony. So she was trained in corporate espionage. So that's how I know John Whitberg. We both have a couple of memories of each other. So I have a memory of his altar, who I think is Heinrich. We're not too sure if it was Heinrich, but I think it's Heinrich. So I remember going into his class and seeing him teaching, and he looked like him. I remember being in the class. I remember talking to him privately. I remember being on a mission where I was doing surveillance in like a town, a high-tech town, and we were monitoring a couple. So I do have memories of John Whitberg, and he remembers me as a female, kind of like spy. But yes,
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Because John Whitberg, I don't know John very well. We chatted a couple of times. I did a gemstone reading for him.
Yeah.
But in this real waking life, the biological one known as John Whitberg is only in his early mid-20s. He might only be 24, 25. And then it's kind of like interesting because you're biologically older than him. And I know other people that he's connected with are also like literally double his age. But he was born 15 to 20 years later, and so it's just interesting.
Yeah, you need to throw linear time out of the window, and because it doesn't exist basically. So yes, there's a version of him in this body that is 25 years old. So that particular body potentially was created 25 years ago, but the mind, that identity that is him, is much, much older. So in his books, he talks about being a person called Carl Del Show. So Carl Del Show was a synthetic that's basically from so originally was a boy from say the 1940s who then went on to be put into a synthetic body and everything, but that's still John's soul. And that when Kyle was, his life ended, that soul rehomed into John's mind. So that version of him is still in there. So there's a version of him in his mind who is a father, right, who's had 2 children. And so in his mind, he's traveled all over the world, all over, the breakaway colonies. In his mind, he is a soldier. Right, so you have to throw those things out the window. So when I first started to look into my records, I asked for my original birth certificate, and it said my name is Juliet Levy, and I was born in 1920. So there's a version of me that was born in 1920, and that consciousness is within me now. So I am Julia, I am Anchor Haven, and I'm Juliet, and I'm Kit Kat, all at the same time. So you can't put it into a linear perspective anymore. So I remember Kit Kat's experiences. I remember some of Juliet's experiences. I remember some of Angelique's experiences. Anchor Haven is a soldier, so she has multiple aspects that all come into one identity. And then I have Julia's identity. So even though John seems very young, he's probably one of the oldest people I know. And occasionally I call him like old man because he's so old, and he's very British as well. So people don't realize he is more British than I am, because I feel like I grew up in America and Toronto, but he is very British because he's got memories of living in the United Kingdom, working in bases and things in the United Kingdom. But I saw that was me, but I also remember living gone. Okay, sorry, it was my alarm went off. So I just need to check that my alarms are off.
Okay. I did a gemstone reading for John Whitberg a few months ago now, and it was my first time meeting him in person, and he did have a very mature personality, and I was surprised to learn that he was only in his early mid-20s. So there you go. I find it really fascinating. And as you can see, it's easy to slip into timelessness here. Yeah. What else did I write here?
One of the things to remember about John is that he didn't get mind wiped, not in the same way that I did. He didn't wipe his memories. So he's had memories from 6 years old. He's always.
How come they couldn't wipe his mind? He's like the special one or something. He just.
Yeah, there's a few.
It just makes me feel excited. Because those scientists have to be more humble. They don't have all the answers. They're not cleaning up their mess, if you will. Yeah. This to me would piss off other scientists that are colleagues of theirs. Because in some of the things,
aggressively mind wiped, probably like Chris as well. We got aggressively mind wiped. One of the reasons I was so aggressively mind wiped was to try and disconnect me from my super soldier partner, my brother Drago Reed. So they mind wiped me into oblivion, stuck me in the suburbs on another country far, far away to try and disconnect us. But we still found each other. We still did, because that energetic signature is still there. So he still remembers.
Nature finds a way.
Yeah, exactly. It's insane. Yeah.
That's the thing. We're nature. We are nature. And you know what? The scientists are nature too, but that's another theory of many where the scientists chose artificial intelligence and plastic pieces over the biological ones. And now they're desperate because they can't get that biology back. It's almost like they've lost their own original blueprint. So they're dependent on ours, you know? Yeah. Yeah. So why don't I show people the buy me a coffee, because I already kind of started to, but I want to show people the part where you're highlighted in the upcoming conference, Promise of Spring. So where is my buy me a coffee here? Is it here? Okay, hold on. Oh yeah, sorry. Okay, yeah, I had it right. Okay, present and okay, yeah. Okay, I was getting caught up looking at the comments. Okay. Julia's popular. She's got another show to host here. So, oh, let me bring it to the stage. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. Okay. Where is it? Yeah, here it is. I think this is it. Nope, that's your picture. Okay. Is it this one? Okay, here's my buy me a coffee. So we were talking about Julia's Oracle deck. There it is again. You can order your own copy, breakawayoracle.com. Healing, providing you with insight, triggering your mind, stirring what's inside, 52 deck, empowerment. There's the pendulum that you can get. Here's my little promotion of Julia. You can see her there on the top right. Julia Anchorhaven, going to be one of the Dragon speakers next week, June 13th. It falls on a Saturday. And you can also see Julia featured here on the left because she's going to be providing technical assistance and also working as a monitor. So I'm really delighted Julia's back this time as a presenter. All the presenters had homework to do. I asked them for a special message. Julia's special message: in these changing times, it is important to center our energies, to focus on the beauty within and around us, asking the question, what is possible here? And that makes me think about our conversation earlier with the Project Phoenix, like what else is possible here? And this is going to be Julia's presentation, anchored in shadow strength, the whispers of remembrance. And she's going to talk specifically about her experience in the SSP secret space program, the subtle signs, paranormal experiences, and her own journey discovering that her life was targeted, handled, and became multidimensional. And that's going to default her to also talking about her oracle. And then there's the link for today. But something else I just wanted to show quickly was to get a ticket and witness Julia Anchorhaven live next week. Right here, you go to the shop on my Buy Me a Coffee, and here it is. It's $40 Canadian. It's a phenomenal dragon delight. I got my little write-up here, myself, the visionary behind it all, reiterating that stories are medicine. Julia provided us with a lot of medicine today, and you can learn more all about it. Once you purchase the ticket, you get a link, and there's lots of pictures here. Oh, it's not letting me click on it. There it is. And Julia, there you can see her again. And there's a schedule. So Julia is presenting, I think, is it 12:30? 12:30 Eastern. So you can catch Julia. We have a pretty strict schedule, and maybe this is a good time to end things on a funny note, because it wasn't funny a few days ago, but it was, for me it was, because I anticipate this. But I asked all the presenters for a pre-recorded presentation, first and foremost, in case we have tech issues. I still have something that I can play for people, right? I also asked the presenters to limit the presentation to 35 minutes maximum, which was really challenging because, as you can see today, I mean, we could still talk for hours and hours, right? But really creating the presentation was triggering for a lot of presenters. It forced them to sit down so that they could have a beginning, a middle, and end. That was hell for a lot of presenters, and a lot of people don't realize that. So tell us a little bit about that, because
about the process
even
of
this
making
morning,
the presentation. Yeah, so I was
Yeah.
freaking out. I was. So I've had a lot going on, so I did put it off quite a bit because I was trying to think how to do this. Because when my SSP brother does his presentation, it's a minimum of 2 hours to 5 hours, and we have shared testimony, and I wanted to include some of that and some of information about how I started to awaken, because I've awakened much later than people thought I would. So he awakened 20 years ago. He's been waiting for me to contact him all this time. So I generally I teach a lot with PowerPoints, and I generally do 2 slides a minute minimum. So I started off with 97 slides and you said no, just 5 slides. 5 slides with 7 points on 35 minutes, that's it. And I knew, okay, that's not going to work for me, because I want to include I wanted to include the artwork from my card deck, so that people can experience the images as they go through, because it really does tell my testimony. So I started to try and reduce it down. I was literally saying to friends of mine, I just don't know how I'm going to do this. I'm having a bit of a freak out right now. How can I tell my story? So it has been very healing, putting this down into a presentation, and also doing the voiceover. That took me 3 attempts to do the voiceover, and then it wouldn't save and things like that. So it has been extremely healing and humbling process trying to create this presentation. But there's also that fear factor of, does this make any sense? What are the people going to ask me if I've not included it in the presentation? So you're trying to put in as much as you can to minimize the questions you might get asked, but also to know that my presentation is potentially triggering, like today's talk, which does need to have a trigger warning in the description, that some people may find it activating, so they might get memories coming forward, or they might find it upsetting because we're talking about abuse, we're talking about mind fracturing. So yeah, it's been a tricky process, but I got there today. I completed the recording. I had to reduce it down to 32 slides or something, I think I managed in the end.
It's about 30 minutes long, so it's it's nice and tidied up, and I just scrolled through it. I just scrolled through it to make sure that it was like there, so I officially have it downloaded, but I really appreciated
a PDF
it
as well, so I saved it as a PDF just in case we couldn't get that to play. Then I've got at least a PDF to put on the screen to work from, and because it's always, PowerPoint presentations are talking points, but with this one, because it's so in depth, you've seen we can go in so many directions when you start to talk about, because I thought I was a regular person up until a couple of years ago. I really did think I was a normal person, that this was normal. And then I started to get memories coming in that were like space, and somebody kept saying to me, oh, you blew up that spaceship because nobody had listened to you. And I was like, what are you talking about? And then now I realize I was on a mission, so that makes sense. Okay, there's a reason why. I've had memories of holding a severed arm and feeling really happy about it. And I'm like thinking, well, how does that make any sense? So I've done a lot of work in the last year or so to basically know that this is my truth. Yeah, this does match other people's testimony. So my SSP brother and I literally have shared memories and things like that. I've got shared memories with at least 5 other people. So it has been very hard to put this into a 35-minute presentation. It has, but I'm sure it'll be fine. So yeah, triggering, but fine. Yeah, there's medicine in the method, Terry's saying. That's so true, yes.
And you know what, the other presenters too, knowing that they're not alone, because they often feel like, is this just me going through this? And behind the scenes, people don't realize my perspective. Behind the scenes, I've been meeting with presenters who are just like in tears, or at the last minute, they're like, I can't do this, it's too much, but it does come together, and like I said, I'm a real stickler for due dates, because I know the power of planning ahead. And some people, they do well doing it at the last minute, but honestly, can you imagine if the real day was tomorrow? No way. So now you've got like a whole week to just let the thoughts settle, and you'll be nice and ready. And the presentation is going to be awesome. Missy Hill is in our chat too, and she's going to be presenting as well. So it's all coming together. And the presenters from the first conference, Promise of Spring, are going to be attending as well in the chat. So it'll be nice to see them too. So, wow. Well, I just can't thank you enough for coming on today. I'm glad that it happened because we had to reschedule. And it was really cool doing the gemstone reading live too. Just this lots of vulnerability for you to share and to shine your light, inspiring others to shine their light. And I noticed Julia's subscribers are increasing on her YouTube. So in this moment, if you haven't subscribed to Julia's YouTube, do that right now. It helps out behind the scenes with the algorithms. Get her oracle card. Get in on the story medicine. Julia's like, you're like what, live 2, 3, 4 times a day? Like
no, I do a morning live. So 4 or 5 times a week I call the early AM, which is 5 a.m. UK, which is midnight or 1 a.m. Eastern. And then I generally have at least one guest most days, so maybe 4 times a week. So maybe 10 times a week I'm live. So yeah,
I feel like every time I turn on my phone, it's like Julia Anchorhaven's live, and then it's like 12 hours ago or whatever, and then it's like, and then with my own bedtime, I wake up early, so I go to bed early.
When I'm not there, I'm
and Missy says she's ordered her deck.
Yeah,
so that'll be cool.
Podcast goes live 3 times a day, and I moderate over there. So trying to find a time slot where I could go live on my channel. That's how I've ended up with the midnight time slot, and that's when we come together as our community live. We pull cards and we chat and we witness each other's journeys. Yeah, so we do that most days. I do take Sunday off. I don't do Sundays. That's the only thing.
You're setting boundaries, and that came up today in your gemstone reading. So if you like Oracle Tarot, talking about healing, the ghosties, ET agenda, and definitely if you have a special interest in super soldier and secret space programs, definitely head on over to Julia's YouTube channel. Any final thoughts, Julia? I got your link and whatnot in the description there.
No, I'm good. I mean, I will be doing an interview with Missy Hill later on. We're going to do a pre-Summer Days conference promotion on my channel, and just kind of warm her up and get ready for the conference next week, which is going to be so good because the last one was so well organized. It was very streamlined. I was in the chat all day for like 10 hours, surrounded by snacks. We had a lot of fun in the chat last time we did. We really enjoyed the singing bowl sessions as well, so that was good. And then those mini videos you created about your gemstone readings, they were very cool as well. So everybody thoroughly enjoyed the last conference you did. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this next one. I'm going to BASIS. I am going to the BASIS conference in 2 weeks, the International Disclosure Conference by Miles Johnston. So I'm going to be appearing there. I'm not planning to talk, but if another person drops out, I might have to. So the presentation that I'm preparing for your conference could get utilized at BASIS if there is a need to. But I will be doing side podcasting while I'm there, and I'm meeting up with Sean Bond, Laura Eisenhower, Isha, Dr. Amir Jahangiri, and there's loads of like fantastic speakers there. So I'm going to try and do some side podcasting between my channel and Rob, Typical Skeptics channel. We're going to set something up over there. So it's a very busy 2 weeks. Yeah.
And you can support Julia through her Patreon too. It's going to cost her money to get from point A to point B. Make sure you're showing your support as well. And thank you for your compliments too. It wouldn't have been possible to do Promise of Spring or Summer Days without people exactly like you, and especially helping to set the precedents, And I created my videos for the breaks a couple days ago now. I think you're really going to like them. I share about some of my tools from book 4, The Gnome King, about being the unmaker. And I think you're really going to like the descent in and out of the pine tree forest. I remade those videos. So I'm playing the singing bowl as I'm like guiding you through. It'll be a really great day.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'm going to remove Julia from the stage. Thank you so much, Julia. Again, have fun tonight on your show. I will try to catch it. Julia typically goes live at 4 or 5 o'clock, and that's typically when I go to bed, but I wake up early, right? So if you are interested in being a guest on Story Species, Story Medicine, reach out to yours truly, Gina Virginia Casella. I would love for you to share your story. I don't investigate any of my guests because you know what? I know what it's like to tell a story and not to have any proof or evidence. Who am I? I'm just another person telling another Bigfoot story. That's what I always say. And I know what it's like for my world not to make sense. You know, two angels came out of my wall when I was 7 years old in grade 2, and it scared me. It wasn't a holy experience. And this is the real heart and truth of the story medicine. So make sure you show Julia some loving, get her oracle card, subscribe to her YouTube channel, support her on her Patreon, and definitely witness Julia live next week at Summer Days at our second conference. It's going to be phenomenal, and a strong appreciation for the Dragon presenters and all the anticipation and preparation. You know, it's not just Julia Anchorhaven, but all the presenters are going through these motions, trying to get it together. And then it's such a payoff. It's such a thrill to present and share your story and to have that designated special space, because when I say Julia is presenting at 12:30 Eastern, you can bet that's when she's going to be presenting. And we really look forward to holding that space for her and others. So on that note, thank you so much, Dragon Dreamers. Have yourselves a wonderful day. And tomorrow we're going to be going live at 11 a.m. Eastern, just as a live tech rehearsal. So nobody's going to be presenting, but we can sure use your help if you're available. Come say hi to us in the chat. Let us know if you can hear us okay, if you can see us okay. We hope to be live just for maybe an hour or so, going through those motions in anticipation of our big day. And of course, next Friday, I'm going to be hanging out just for about an hour on the Friday. The big conference is on the Saturday. And then the Sunday, we're going to have post-conference hangout for about an hour or so. So whoever can make it, the presenters, monitors alike are invited. And then Michael Kopf is also hosting the presenters after. So lots of things to look forward to. And I hope you also continue to follow Julia through her basis as well. And I hope Julia gets to present. She's got her presentation already ready. So that'll be really great. All right. Thanks, Terry B. and everyone else for tuning in. Thanks for a great time, Julia. And there's Julia. See, she's like still monitoring right now. There's my Buy Me a Coffee, the extras. Get your tickets, $40 Canadian. It's online, and that's for the full day. It's not just for Julia's presentations, for the full day. Come hang out with us. We're your soul tribe, and we await you. The Dragon Dreams Soul Tribe Collective. Yes, you. All right. Thank you so much, Dragon Dreamers. Here's a little promo for the conference, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care. Bye for now.